Hi, welcome to Thursday with a Friend. Punk. I've never called myself Punk. My name is Lawrence, or Punk, or Larry, whatever you want to call me. And my special guest today, the Toy Sorceress, half of Toy Habits. Lily, thank you for joining me.
Hi, Lawrence. How's it going? Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's such a pleasure to be here and just can't wait to hang out and talk.
Thank you. I think the only
No,
time
you
we
are.
were on screen together was with Mega J when
Yes.
I said that there's no way the Cat's Lair is funding. I stand by that Super 7 inflated those numbers because it jumped like crazy out of nowhere. They were never going to let that fail.
I know. Well, whether they inflated it or not, I got a table in my other room waiting for my cat's lair. So
I'm,
really
happy,
nothing to
I'm
spot
happy for everyone happy for everyone that's going to get it. That thing is massive.
It is.
When I saw it at PowerCon, I was like, this is this is someone who woke up Christmas morning and got the USS flag. So to look at that thing and say that thing is large, you really get a feel
Now
for
you're freaking me out.
it.
Like, did I even leave enough space for it?
Did you see it?
I did not get to see it in person. It was
Oh,
I was at Comic-Con this year, but obviously wasn't on display. So yeah, I haven't seen it.
yeah, it's big. It's. I
I was
don't know the
hoping
way
they
to
were
put
gonna
it.
have it like at the Super 7 store because I did go there, but it was all like dungeon and dragonized and they put everything away. So
Yeah, it's when you see how, especially like, it's not only that it's tall, and also it was up on a stand, so that makes
yeah,
it look. But when
yeah,
it unfolds, you're just like that thing. Yeah,
Matt.
and it's one of those things you don't want to put that up against a wall. You want it to be 360 displayed.
And yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do that. I wish I had a room big enough. It's literally in like an alcove, actually, which is the only spot I had left for it. But I like literally just finished restoring a vintage cat's lair in my collection.
And then
I
you
had
need
I
a
had
new
a
one.
beat up one and I wasn't happy with it, and I was like, screw it. So I restored this nice, complete vintage one sitting here. I still lie, I know he's on my desk right now, but I love Thundercats, and I'm wearing a Thundercats t-shirt. Those are my figures. So I'm stoked. I'm stoked about it. And it was so much fun on that live stream because Larry, if you remember, or Lawrence, um, we not only got to see the countdown all together, we were having a party, we were all jazzed up, but halfway through the stream, pictures leaked from SDCC when they were setting up. It was preview night, and Mega J like sent it to us, and we all like freaked out. And then, of course, like me and Michael, as we were on the live stream in the background without people knowing, we're writing up articles for our website, like you know, multitasking, trying to get that out. And it was amazing to all get to like freak out over it, and like it was great. It was great
I
to see in-person images rather than just like the renderings and the solicited photos, right? So
I've been on a few streams with Michael, and him and I will be messaging back and forth. There was one where we were on something, and I shot him a message. And I go, "Hey, watch out for that guy." He was like, "What?" And I was like,
yeah,
"That guy right there." And he was like, and I started like filling him in, and he goes, "Oh," I'm like, "He's trying to lead you right now into
yeah.
saying something so he can go off on his tirade." And man, I had so much behind the scenes stuff on this guy from specific people, like not even on YouTube, that
Yeah.
I was like, "Ooh, yeah, he's a
Minefield,
little
right?
crazy."
Minefield. Yeah,
Um,
Michael's great, and I want to give a big shout out to my partner because he's just
I,
an
I
amazing
love
friend and an amazing partner, and I just having such a blast.
I love him, and again, we're gonna get into your YouTube eventually, but let me say hi to the chat really quick. We got Daredevil Dave, who is here first. Clinton Jorgensen is here. Krusty Old Crow, he's here to learn about toy sorcery. Richard Burns, Mr. Mad Gus, one of my moderators. Matthew Matson is here. We have Christoph Scuba, David R. And look, we have Toy Sorceress pulling a double duty. PNC is in the house. Derek Holloman. We have Christine Mendoza, Same Time Toys. Did I say Machine Man? We'll say him again just because. Plastic Skulls is here. Toy Binging. I see things on the side here because I have it going. We have Not Rachel Salinas is here. Wraith Mace, who says, "We are Hammer." And then he has gifted 1 toy membership. So you know what you get
So
for
nice of
that.
you. So nice of you.
Welcome to the creamery.
And let's see who got that. Grizzlehorn got the Punk membership. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
That is my daughter.
Aw.
I was
Just such a sweet voice.
you should have seen it live. Jason Keene is here. Len S is here, and yeah, we have Not Rachel saying love toy habits for Joe and Motu coverage.
Aw,
Yeah, we had an incident where someone came in saying that YouTubers that take super chats or have channel members, they're just leeching, and everyone kind of went off on this person. We ended up figuring out who it was.
Yeah.
At least I did. And it just became like it was, I want to say either Allison or Oz that started calling it the creamery because I'm milking them of their money. And yeah, that's exactly. And so when I was trying to do sound clips, I was like, I'm looking for like welcome to the creamery. And I had my daughter. Okay. And I'm like, send me a voice note of this. How do you want me to say? I'm like, I don't know. One day we're sitting here and I get a channel member. So I'm like, hey, we can do a live one. And she's just cracking up. She couldn't get through it because once you put her on the spot, then she's just completely out of it.
How old's your daughter?
She's 15.
Okay.
And she has
that could be a very giggly age, is why I'm asking.
Oh, she has no problem being part of the If she was here today, she was supposed to be, but she's staying at her mom's. You would have met her because she always comes in, especially before. Dreadnought Ryan was on with me, and we're talking for like a half hour before, and she comes in and she's like, "Are you busy?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going." Boom, 15 minutes in, and Ryan, I'm watching, and he's laughing his ass off. He just couldn't stop. People have caught her. Like she comes in, and there was one where when my desk used to be back. So my door opens, and I know the door is open. I know when Roman comes through because he just barges through. It slowly opens, and then she turns her head, and she was in there on TikTok with her friend. And she get up her face like in this clown makeup, and I'm like, get over here. You need to show everyone this. So
that's awesome. See, my buddy Ken is in the chat.
Yeah,
How's
Dr. Gonis has tuned in, and this Canadian guy, Toy something.
Ken is awesome. I love Ken.
I thought
he's such a great friend, such a great guy. Has such a great channel, and every time he does one of those new history videos, I just started watching the Brave Star one. Blows me away. Like you're just another level, Ken.
He puts a lot of time and effort into it, and yet he still believes that Bret Hart is better than Shawn Michaels, and
we all
know that.
I dug out my extra Adventure Team Joe. This was the other one I had that you didn't get to see. This one's vintage. He'll be proud of me. This is a vintage. I had some Adventure Team Joes. We did a video together, but they were like reissues because they were in such nice condition. He's like, well, don't you have any vintage ones? I'm like, I have one around here somewhere. So now he sits on my desk.
You've got a lot of stuff. Yeah. And we'll eventually get into that. But let me ask, where does the name Toy Sorceress come from? Because from what I understand, your parents named you Lily.
Yeah.
Because they didn't hate you by calling you the Toy Sorceress.
Exactly. So I got to tell you, it all stemmed from when me and Michael met, and I can tell that story very quickly, but he was doing the YouTube channel with Larry, and I was watching an episode, and they were talking about the Motu Classics Hero. I had just bought him, and this is the Super 7 version, which he's got his little green gem on his staff, and so I
remember that
this is a classic hero. And so when I bought my hero, he was carded. I opened him up, and I opened his little staff, and he had a red gem, and I was like, what the hell? Me being ignorant at the time, I didn't know that it got packed with 3 different colors. So here Larry and Michael are talking about it, and they're like, oh yeah, I think Larry said he had like like 2 or 3 green gems and he wanted to get like one of each color or something. So I was like, oh, I have a red one he's looking for. Maybe he'll trade me. So I put that in a chat in the comment section of their video. And of course, Larry never responded to comments, but Michael did. Michael was nice enough to respond back. And he was like, oh, I'll trade you. And I was like, oh, this guy's so nice, right? So we emailed each other our information. And I sent him like this little like mini like micro set of Motu figures with it just as a thank you, because he was like really nice and then he was so touched, and then we just started like talking. And I was like showing up at Target, and like I happened to like hear some information about when stuff was getting released, so I started kind of giving them news information like organically. And then Michael asked me like, oh, I need some help on the channel, can you be a moderator, but we're going to need a name for you, like you need an avatar or something, right? So I was sitting at my desk, and I'm like, okay, first of all, I need to come up with like a little logo or something, and I need a name. Like, what the heck am I going to call myself? So I used to have my Motu shelf, which is actually right there with my classic vintage figures. It was over my desk in my old house, like right in front of me. And I'm sitting at my desk, and I look up, and the Sorceress is like, my vintage Sorceress is my favorite vintage Motu figure. So I'm looking up at the Sorceress, and it hit me like a light bulb, like a lightning strike. And I was like, Toy Sorceress. I was like, that's my name. That's my avatar. It's staring me right in the face. So I took my Sorceress down from the shelf, and I had like a kind of wood slatted wall feature on my old office. So I shot a picture of her right there on my desk. And so that is the avatar that you see on all my comments and all my screen names and everything. It was that photograph of that very Sorceress figure, and it just like stuck with me, and I was like, that's the name I'm going to use. So I used that for the Toy Habits moderator. I became the moderator for their channel for a little while, helping them out. And then Michael got overwhelmed with the channel, and we'll get into the whole website thing, but then we started working on the website with each other. But that is how I came up with Toy Sorceress.
So quickly, Clint says, I remember when Toy Sorceress was the admin at Toy Habits, it was tough getting comments by her. So I gotta say, so as you were telling that, the whole gem thing,
yeah,
I remember when that happened. I was downstairs in my basement working out.
Wow.
Listening to and probably because you didn't have a name yet, that's why I didn't stick out. But I remember the whole gem thing.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And I love when things come organically like that. That makes it just that much better.
It was so organic. We just became friends. And then after knowing each other for a while, I don't know why the conversation came up. He was talking about his parents visiting they live in the desert area. And my husband, his father, his parents are divorced, but his father remarried. So his father lives in the desert with his wife. They've been married for, I don't know, 30 some odd years. And I just like joking around because like I'm Jewish and his family's Jewish. And I'm like, maybe it's a small knit community. I'm like, do you happen to know so-and-so, like this couple? Like my husband's just like, oh, just ask him. Like, like what the hell? And he's like, so-and-so and so-and-so. He's like, those are my parents' best friends. They've known each other for 20 years. And I was like, no way. And he sends me a picture of them like together or something. And I'm like, that's them. What are the odds that like a completely separate universe, like his parents are best friends with my father-in-law and his second wife? It's crazy.
I'm trying to think if he told me that. I think he might have told me that backstage or when I had him on, because I had a very similar situation.
But it's like a weird connection. Like it was fate that we were supposed to become friends and do this together. Like somehow in the universe, we had some other kind of fabric that connected us. And that's the cool thing. I'm the sorceress, so I got to think of it being much more of a mystical, like universal thing, right? Something brought us together. And if it was Hero's gem, and that's all the more reason why I love Hero, and I'm always pulling him out and making him dance around. I need a hero, because he's that special to me, and especially because he's the one, like, well, it's my classics Hero that brought us together, but Hero brought me and Michael together. So that's all the more reason it's more special to me.
Awesome. I want to quickly say hi. I want to say hi to everyone. There was Roll Keeper, Viper Scout showed up, Lunchbox Killer, 80s Toy Boy, Judge Dreads, Joe Fan 84. But Infinity Toys. I don't believe I've ever seen, so I really want to give you a big thank you for joining. I don't know if you're here for the Toy Sorceress or somehow you found the channel by bad luck, but I'm glad you're here.
Good luck.
All right. So, do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 48.
48 years old. So we are in the exact same age.
Yeah.
We are.
I'm a January baby, so I'm like 4 months younger than Michael. His birthday's before mine.
When's your birthday?
In 76. I was born in 76, so it's the 17th, January 17th.
Okay. That is my oldest daughter's birthday.
The same day?
Yeah. Well, she wasn't born in 76.
See, now something brought us together too. Well, wish her a happy birthday for me when it comes around, and I'll have to.
Well,
I'll have to remember to text you on that day.
You could have, because she moved to San Diego because her boyfriend got a job, and then she got a job at Chuck Jones Gallery, who did Looney Tunes, and she was at Comic-Con. I'm like, you're kidding me?
No way.
I just made a joke that I'm gonna come crash on your couch one day, so I can 1 year, so I can go.
Yeah.
It's my ex's daughter. I raised her since she was 5.
That's incredible. So, that's amazing.
My birthday is December 29th. So
almost happy birthday to you too. But that's awesome that you're in that like a holiday range. It's probably kind of hard because people are getting gifts for the holiday.
My dad refused to. We just talked about this. My dad refused it. Like,
really,
your birthday is separate.
Oh, good.
We're not. Yeah, you're not. Yeah. You're not doing a dual thing. Like, he was very adamant that it is separate. So
the only way the holidays actually interrupted my birthday, and it happened to be 1 year on my 18th birthday, was the huge Northridge earthquake, because I am in earthquake country here in California.
Oh, okay.
My mother used to get like a buy one get one free turkey at Thanksgiving, and so she'd freeze the second turkey and then defrost it and cook it on my birthday, right? Because it was enough months away from Thanksgiving. We weren't sick of turkey by then. So on my 18th birthday, she had a turkey in the freezer. Huge earthquake hits in the middle of the night. Of course, we had to shut the gas off and everything. And we're sitting here like under our dining room table with all the aftershocks going. And the only thing my mother can think about was, how am I going to cook the turkey? I'm like, forget the turkey, Mom. The world's falling apart around us. And that was the last year I ever got a damn turkey for my birthday, thanks to the earthquake. But
all right, so quickly, Aaron the Toy Enhancer, who's I don't know how he's not offending someone on a live stream right now. He says, "What up, everyone? Hey, Punk and Toy Sorceress. Punk never asked a lady her age. Did I not ask you before we started if I can ask?"
He did.
See, he did. I know that. All right, you never ask a woman if she's pregnant. I don't care how. If a woman has not told me she's pregnant, she could be popping that baby out, and I'm not going to say shit. Right? I'm just. I'm not saying nothing. All right, like, I don't care. I see that baby coming out. I'm just being like, oh, okay. Oh, you're pregnant. I didn't realize it. Say hi to Tony really quick. All right, so. Where were you born at?
I'm actually Argentinian. I was born in Argentina. I do speak Spanish. I'm fluent, although I forget some words because I came here when I was 9 months old. So I'm a California girl. But I was born there. I still have a ton of family there. And it's kind of cool. I heard a few people in the Motu community are also Argentinian. Axel Jimenez is Argentinian. And there's a few other people who are Argentinian, which is kind of really cool. So I'm like, there's a little thread of connection there.
And I remember you being really excited over Glenda for Dragonfly because it harkened back. Because most people don't know, and it's understandable if you didn't know who Glenda was, or because we didn't have the internet. I mean, everything wasn't at our. For me, G.I. Joe was here.
Yeah.
You know, and I love talking to people across the pond about how their G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Motu, how it came. G.I. Joe is a big one because it says a real American hero.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a hard sell over in Australia, right?
Yeah.
So you're born there.
Mm-hmm.
How was your family life? Were your parents still together? Do you have brothers and sisters?
Parents are still together to this day. I have an older brother. I have a slightly older sister, and that's it. There were just 3 of us. Came here when I was a year old, or just about a year old, and I used to, I was speaking Spanish until I got to like kindergarten, and all of a sudden started speaking English right away. that was it. So just
Wait,
basically raised in Southern California. my
sorry,
whole life.
when did you come here?
I was like 9 months old.
Oh, I thought you
around-
said 9 years old.
No, 9 months old.
Okay.
But I until I went to school, I was speaking Spanish at home, right?
Yeah.
And then the parents brought me to, I guess, preschool. I think I probably might have still been speaking some Spanish in preschool, but then when I got to kindergarten, it was like I switched. I haven't switched
A lot
up since.
easier for kids to learn something new. Don't ask me to learn how to speak Spanish. If
Yeah.
Dora hasn't taught me, that's what I know. All right. Dora
Yeah.
the Explorer, right? Hola. That's about it.
A lot. That's it.
And no, I know no and see.
It-
So earlier we talked about sister. She's about a year
Yeah.
older. How much older is your brother?
He's like 5 years older than me. 4 and a
Okay.
half, 5 years older.
So growing up, you had basically a play friend built in.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So do you remember like the first toys you played with?
Yeah. So when I was like really young, like in preschool, we used to play with like the little Fisher Price sets, the little people.
The
And
little
the houses.
people or the adventure people?
No, the little people. The little people. So like I remember specifically like the little Dalmatian.
Okay.
Like the little spotted one,
Yeah.
and like the farm set, and
Oh,
the little like firehouse. And my sister always wanted to play with the Dalmatian. Like she claimed that thing. We had a set like in preschool, and she went, and the Dalmatian was always hers. So that was like the first toys. But early on, when I was like really young, I think somebody might have gotten me. Actually, it's not this very same one, but the Lone Ranger.
I still have my original.
Wow, that's amazing. This is one I bought like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, but I had this, but my first action figure that I picked out like myself, and I have a fond memory of it, was Superpowers Aquaman. And it was for a Hanukkah present. And I did not get a ton of toys for Hanukkah like Michael Michael did. I got like one toy. And my parents, like they didn't have like a ton of money or anything, so I'd get like one toy for Hanukkah, and that was kind of it. And so Superpowers Aquaman, like, and I've told this story many a time. That was like my first like action figure I really remember getting as a gift. And I took him with me everywhere. I love my Aquaman. I still have him. He's on my shelf right there. And I took him to my first grade class with me one day. And of course, Aquaman has a trident, right, in his hand. And for some reason, I look around and Aquaman's trident's missing. I had him on my desk. I was playing around with him. And then I look clear across the room, and another one of the kids is using Aquaman's trident as a toothpick. And I remember the horror. And I was like, oh my God, like, that's not a toothpick. What are you doing? I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I got to go rescue Aquaman's trident. So I run across the room and I rip the damn thing out of the kid's hand. I'm like, what are you doing with this? Yeah. And I still have that trident to this day, although I replaced it because it had cracked. And so he has a replacement vintage trident, but I still have the one that the kids.
You still have the original.
I do. Yeah.
Oh man, I love that. and your co-host Michael has joined in.
Oh, hi, Michael. Hey, partner.
Four Feathers has joined us. So I want like that barn set.
Yeah.
It came up on another episode, and I feel like every kid, they had a family member, whether it be at their grandparents or their aunt or uncle, someone had it, and like that became a plaything. No matter when you ended up somewhere, like it was there. That and the little telephone, the rotary telephone.
I have one in my other room. Both things in my other toy room. I literally can go grab them. My husband also had that barn set. He remembers as a kid, so I bought that for him. He's not a toy collector, but I still bought him one. I don't know, like 15 years ago. And if you remember, there's, like the little hen house on the top of the barn. If you slide that open, you can put the little hens in there. And then if you open the barn doors, it makes a mooing sound. Yep. Even though it's not, there's no electronics or anything. It's with the springs somehow that they put in it. It moves. It's like, it's great. And mine are still moves. So I have the telephone and I have the barn.
I love that. And I love the fact that you pulled out the Lone Ranger. I still have my Lone Ranger and Tonto.
That's awesome.
I don't have Silver or Tonto's horse. I don't even remember his name. And I had a couple other Lone Rangers, and
there are like the other cowboy guys.
Yeah. But I don't have the pistols, because Lone Ranger had 2 pistols. Tonto had a pistol and a knife.
Yep. Do you know which pistol this is in a Lone Ranger's hand? It's for a whatchamacallit, Playmobil pistol because it's so
Oh,
small. So I'm like, oh, it works. Sorry, I'll show it to you that
they're
way.
not that expensive. Like I was kind of.
Oh, I was trying to find a replacement one, but maybe that was too many years ago. I gotta look again.
I went and looked them up because I was like, I kind of
Yeah.
want to have them. With the horse, there's a couple of the figures that are real expensive.
Oh yeah.
They weren't like him and Tonto weren't expensive. I was like, I can't believe these stood
Right.
the test of time.
And I had bought a
Scout.
bag of them at some antique shop once for like $20 or something, and had the other figures and like a couple of the horses. And I ended up giving a few to my sister, and then I sold some. I didn't realize how much money they were worth now. Oops.
So you said Aquaman was the first action figure you remember.
Yeah.
So what was the first toys that you remember? I don't like saying collecting because we didn't collect.
Yeah. No, I didn't collect.
I've had a few people on that said, yeah, my dad was a collector, my mom was, so they'd buy one and keep it packaged.
Mm-hmm.
But most of us, we played with their toys, right? So what was the first toy line or toys that you remember like falling in love with?
So the Superpowers line was the first line I fell in love with. I still have a bunch of my childhood toys today. I would take those with me everywhere. I played with them all over the place. But when I was a kid, I had different things, right? So I loved, plushies. I have my childhood Alvin and the Chipmunk still from being a kid. I had like one Barbie and the Rockers doll, which I loved, but my parents wouldn't buy me anymore. And I had one strawberry shortcake, which I really love, which is the purple pie man. But then I never got like any of the strawberry shortcake dolls. But I only got him because they were birthday gifts from like my friends. Like my parents wouldn't really buy me that many toys. And so, the way that I built up my toy collection when I was a kid, and I really did play with them, is I would save up my allowance. And then when I went to go visit my grandmother with my sister, she lived about 2 blocks away from a Toys R Us, and it was like next to a Rite Aid. So she would like leave us in like she lived in a townhouse complex, and there was like a little playground across the parking lot right there. So she would leave us there while she went to go cook for the afternoon. She's like, "Oh, go play." You're like, "Fine, Grandma." And then we would go and we would sneak out of the park when she was long gone and cooking, and sneak down to the Toys R Us and buy ourselves an action figure or like a toy or whatever, and then sneak it back. We'd throw away the packaging and then sneak it back in our shirts. And sometimes it was ridiculous. So I'd have like a lump in my shirt. I'm like, "Hi, Grandma," like trying like sneak in sideways back into the house. And I built up my toy collection that way because my parents really didn't buy me much, right? So as a kid, and I didn't get play sets that often at all, like ever. So I'm an architect, so maybe my love for architecture started here. I remember me and my sister actually building ourselves like a Hall of Justice and also like a bat cave out of cardboard. We'd like get a bunch of cardboard and like color it and like draw little computer panels and like Scotch tape and like build ourselves a play set because I never got one as a kid. So we would make our own. We'd have enough money to buy ourselves like the little figures, and that was like kind of it, right? So as I got a little bit older, like I would get a little bit more money and I was sort of able to like sneak off and like buy myself more toys. But I always had a love for them, and I did actually play with them. And I got to watch a lot of like friends of mine, like their parents maybe were more generous, so they would like buy them all this stuff. I have a fond memory, Lawrence, and this is hilarious, of a cousin from Spain visiting, and he was with his mother visiting my grandmother. And they were staying in my grandma's house for like 2 weeks or something. And he was up in the bedroom that we used to stay at. My grandma had 2 spare bedrooms. He would stay in the room that we called our room, like that we would stay at when my parents were on vacation. So I remember visiting this cousin, and I walked into the room, and he had like, his mom had taken him to the Toys R Us by my grandma's house and bought him like every single Star Wars figure and vehicle and playset that they had in that Toys R Us, like the whole line. And it was all over the bedroom floor. And I walked in and I was just like in awe. And could you imagine like getting to jump in a time machine and go back to that and see all of those carded and boxed toys from the Kenner Star Wars line? It was incredible because it was so expensive in Spain. And so she bought him all the toys, and I didn't get anything.
I remember. So I remember vividly being at
Yeah.
Toys R Us. I wanted GI Joe. They were $2.69.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
my dad
incredible how
goes,
cheap they were, right?
yeah. And my dad goes, because Star Wars figures were $1 each because they couldn't even get rid of them. And my dad
Yeah.
would go, you can get 3 of these or 1 of those. I'm like, I want 1 of these. I look back, that end cap, if my dad would have just bought that whole thing, probably would have been $200, $300
Yeah.
and just stored. Not that we knew what
What it was going to be
house
worth.
is paid off, kids are sent to college. But no, I had to have the GI Joe figure that I had to rip open.
Yeah.
But when you were talking about like the kid having all this stuff,
Yeah.
there's always that. Whenever there's a conversation about toys, someone
Mhm.
always is like, "Yeah, there's always that one asshole kid that has that GI Joe aircraft carrier." That was me.
But that's great that you were lucky enough as a child and have that fond memory of them being that like generous and loving and like going and buying you this incredible gift that probably stayed with you forever, right? You always have the
You've never,
memory. I don't even know. Do you still own your childhood USS flag?
you've never heard this story?
I did hear the story of the shipwrecks, but
Yes.
is it the same flag that you still own
Oh
today?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't say all my GI Joe stuff. GI Joe is the stuff I told my dad like don't get rid of
Yeah.
because I had the most of it. That's what I really loved.
Hmm.
I don't know what happened to all my other stuff because I never.
Yeah.
I don't remember getting rid of it, and then my dad would have thrown it away. So I don't know how I got rid of it, or
Yeah.
if it just got lost when I moved. Went
Mhm.
with a girlfriend, and it maybe just got lost. I would have got rid of it. And I mean, I had Motu stuff and Transformers. I didn't have nearly as much, but it is one of those weird things. I'm like, I don't know where all that stuff is, but thank God the GI Joe stuff
Thank
has
God he kept it. Right?
followed me. But yeah,
Yeah.
that is my childhood USS flag.
That's incredible. That's incredible that you have that.
Because every year someone posts that picture like this is the 35th anniversary of me not getting the flag, and I'm like, hey, this is the like 34th year of me not getting a flag too, and they're like, you already got it. I'm like, yeah, but all those 34 years I didn't get another one. I just have the same one. So your first love again, where were we at? What was your first love again? Like
It was
first
superpowers.
superpower.
Superpowers. Yeah.
Now, why superpowers? Like what?
Well, when I was a child, I would watch Super Friends on TV Saturday mornings, sitting on the floor in our living room with a bowl of cereal early in the morning before my parents woke up, and just like enjoying the hell out of watching the cartoon. So when those figures came out, that probably that started my love of action figures. I collect everything, plushies, figures, dolls, everything. I love pop culture. I love all these toys. But they really called out to me because I had such a close piece of my childhood watching the cartoon. And so that was a way for me to be able to relive those adventures. And me and my sister would play with, like Superman and Wonder Woman. And I still have my Hawkman. Like it was great. And we took them with us everywhere. And that was my love of toys started from that.
So, but as a female, did you find yourself like I mean, you're a girl. I mean, you're a little.
Yeah. So that's why, like I said, I have toys from like every genre. I like, I had some strawberry shortcake stuff, some I had a She-Ra, I had a Barbie, I
Care
had a
Bears.
bunch
You
of
had Care Bears,
plushie,
right?
stuffed animals,
Care Bears.
all that kind of stuff. I had Care
I
Bears and
love
the
Care
Big Brown
Bears.
puppies. I still have Care Bears. I have a adorable one like in my room. I had a couple pound puppies. I love those
Oh
too.
my
They
God,
were
pound
gifts.
puppies.
Right, I still have some. I had a Popple. Do you remember the Popples? With like they were furry and like you would pop them open. They were stuffed plushie also, and they look like a ball, like a plushy ball. And
Oh
then when you
yeah.
would unfold them, like they had a little face, and yeah, so those were really cute. I had a bunch of like different toys, and I didn't like. To me, it wasn't like boy toy, girl toy. It was a toy. It was fun. It was reliving the cartoons and the comic books and all the cool stuff that I got to enjoy, both watching on TV and then riding my bike to the liquor store to go get candy in the comic book store next door, pick up a comic and come back and read it. And then I would want the toys about it. My favorite TV shows, I would watch Dukes of Hazzard and Knight Rider, and I love Karate Kid and all of these things. So I have those toys. I love the movie Dick Tracy. I got Dick Tracy toys. I love Food Fighters because I've got a whole bunch of Food Fighter toys. So to me, I didn't like differentiate and say to myself, oh, it's wrong or right to like this toy or that toy. It was just a fun toy, right? And then Star Wars was multi-generational. Like everybody liked Star Wars, so
Yeah.
I didn't draw a line. I just said to myself, I'm going to enjoy what I'm going to enjoy. And if it makes me happy, wonderful. Right. So that's like what I did, and that's how my love of toys grew. I didn't like draw a line for myself and say, I'm not allowed to like this or like that. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I again, there's things that I find interesting about people.
Mhm.
Obviously, talking to girls, like what was it about? Because a lot of them, they're not talking strawberry shortcakes or Barbie. They're talking like G.I. Joe, He-Man. Like,
Yeah,
what is
and
it?
I like all those.
Yeah.
I've got a huge collection of Master of the Universe and G.I. Joe and Star Wars, Thundercats, you name it. I've got it. I've got all that stuff. And like I said, there's no gender line to me. It's just I watched all those cartoons as kids. I read the comic books as a kid, and so it didn't. There wasn't like a differentiation in my mind. I liked all of it. I love the cartoon She-Ra. I've got a bunch of She-Ra dolls, but it doesn't matter to me, right? It's what I enjoy and it's what makes me happy. So, and I think it's great, and we shouldn't look at the world and like this versus that.
Yeah, but as a kid, as a kid,
Yeah, as a kid, it was harder, right? But I still gravitated towards all toys in like all the aisles, right? I didn't like stop myself from like looking at like the girl aisle or the pink aisle or the other aisle. I like stuff from all the aisles.
But I can remember in elementary school playing Super Friends out. And there was one kid that would be Wonder Woman. And we all thought he was really weird, but he was just like, I'll be Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But like you're so self-conscious, expect like, oh my God, he's the girl.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize how cool Wonder Woman really is.
Exactly.
Other than Superman and Batman, she's probably the third most famous superhero of all time.
Absolutely. And I love Wonder Woman. I love the TV show. I will still watch the show with Linda Carter. Like I watch it with my husband, and he loves to watch the show with me too. I have 2 Mego dolls of her.
You know why he wants to watch, though, right? Just so you know.
I know why he watched. I know why he watched it. He used to watch it with his dad, and we all know the story of why. So he has fond memories of his childhood too.
I have to say, I love the movie Sky High.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen Sky High, but she's the prince. So it's basically it's an offshoot. It's a bunch of superhero kids. It's their school they go to, and she's the principal.
Mm-hmm.
And she makes a little crack, like saying like, I'm not Wonder Woman, and this was probably 20 years ago.
Yeah,
she still looks really good. Like you can go put that suit on right now.
Yeah.
And it's gonna look bad because it's just a dumpy, weird looking 70s, but it was so awesome back then. And my other moderator, Action Figs Ed, has showed up.
Hello.
All right, so what would you say your favorite was? The Superpowers your favorite toy line? Like as you started
now? No, I've it's so hard for me like now to like narrow down.
As a kid, like we all started with Star Wars, and for me it was like I had all this stuff till G.I. Joe came, and then it all like that's.
I actually had some G.I. Joe toys too, like remarkably, because they were fun to play with in the park at my grandma's house because it was all sand, like the whole park was a sand park, and they had the big rocket ship with the slide in it, and like totally 70s, right? So we're like, oh, there's like a sandy park here, like it would be so cool to play with these little vehicles. And so for the cheaper stuff that we could afford, we get like the little vehicles and little guys, and I had I had rock and roll, and I had a few of the O-ring figures. I'm like, oh, these are cool because they can like bend and sit inside, and we'd play in the sand, and it was fun. Like again, we didn't differentiate what was for girls or boys. We just played with everything, and just as long as we were having a good time playing with them.
But but was there a line like that you just fell in love with? Like this was my favorite as a kid.
As a kid. So absolutely, Superpowers a line I fell in love with as a kid. But also, I did like Star Wars, but I hardly had any figures as a kid because again, my parents didn't really buy them for me. I had one X-wing Luke that cousin, his mother bought for me because I think she felt sorry for me. And I remember losing his blaster in my backyard, and our childhood house, and the blaster is probably still sitting back there. Even though my dad sold the house a long time ago, it's like sitting in a crack behind a storage shed.
You need to go find it.
I tried. You know what? It's funny. I tried to look for it because the house went for sale. They tore down our childhood house. They built this like McMansion thing on it, and there was an open house. So I'm like, I told my husband, like, come on, let's go look at the house. So I'm in the backyard and I'm like searching like through the cracks of the concrete to see, like, I know this blaster's back here somewhere. It's probably still sitting there today.
There's always that one accessory, that one figure that you remember losing. You know exactly where you lost it.
Yep.
You can never find it, and you're like, I wonder if it's just sitting there. Like if it's been uncovered. And
absolutely. And the other thing I remember, my brother had these Tonka toys. And there was like a race car driver with like this orange car. His name was AJ Foyt. I have a set of those. They're from Tonka. They're like kind of from the Fisher Price Adventure People. They look so similar to those. It's an offshoot line. And he had a mechanic guy. He was in like a brown jumpsuit outfit, like his pit crew guy. And my brother, I was playing with it. I'm like, oh, these are cool toys. And him being 5 years older, he didn't want them anymore. They were his. And I was in the garage, and he took AJ Foyt and the pit crew guy and like threw them up in the rafters in the garage. He's like, you don't need this. And he tossed them up there. And I'm like thinking to myself, and the garage is still there today. They didn't tear down the garage. I'm like, AJ Foyt is sitting up in those rafters somewhere. I'm sure they didn't find them.
All right, so as you go from elementary school, get into middle school, are you still playing with toys?
No, by middle school it was all about Nintendo, Super Nintendo. We were at our friend's house playing video games all the time. I still have like my toy collection in the closet. I didn't really collect toys back then. And then, put a pin into, I would say I went to junior college and then transferred to the university. So when I went to junior college with my sister, it was in the city of Santa Monica. And we had breaks in between classes because, you go to college, you have classes a couple times during the day. Yeah. There was a local like comic book shop that had some Star Wars figures in it. And then there was out on the 3rd Street Promenade, which is like this outdoor mall, this famous outdoor mall. There's a really cool shop called Puzzle Zoo. And it was like collectibles and like all sorts of different things. And in the back section of the store, they had a whole bunch of vintage Star Wars figures. And I remember back then when I was in college, they were like $5 each for a figure, complete, gorgeous condition, but they were really cheap. So, we were bored in between classes and we're like, oh, I remember these. We didn't get to buy these when we were kids, and we were still really into Star Wars, and there was kind of that nostalgia starting to build up, I was in college, and I was like, I should buy a couple of these. And so I started building up my vintage Star Wars collection between both of those stores. And, and I actually ran into, Meredith Baxter Burney from Family Ties.
Yeah.
Mother. So she was actually in the comic book shop. She walked in one day shopping for her son. I don't know if she wanted to buy him a couple little toys in the comic book. And so we started talking to her about Star Wars toys. She's the nicest lady. And she's like, oh, what character should I get him? And so it was like such a cool memory, right? But this is how I built up my like vintage Star Wars collection back then. And that experience kind of reignited my love for toy collecting. So it started slowly in junior college. And then I transferred. I went up to school, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, because I studied architecture. And when we got there, it was kind of like, the internet was getting more popular. It had started when I was like in junior college. The internet was getting a little bit more popular, and then eBay showed up, right? So this was in like the late 90s. And all of a sudden, like our minds were like blown. We were like, we go to the search bar on eBay, we're like, anything you can think of, you like start to type it in, and all this stuff started to pop up. Oh my God, look, you can buy this toy you had when you were a kid. And so I still have this to this day. But the very first item that my sister, the Baroness of Toys, and I guess she's not watching today, but she bought me from eBay is this Lion-O, this orange-haired Lion-O. I love him. This is my favorite toy. I cherish this Lion-O. He sits in front of my cat's lair there. But this is the first thing that she bought from eBay. I remember him arriving in our rental over there when we were in college, and I still keep him to this day. So this Lion-O kind of ignited the bigger toy collecting in my life.
Now, normally I don't like to talk about how much something costs, but do you remember how much it cost her to get that off of eBay?
No, but I should ask her. Maybe he was maybe 20 or $30.
Yeah, like
something like that.
Because eBay, again, like you didn't.
That
was so different back then.
He still works. He still lights up. His little eyes, like, I don't know if I can get it on the screen, but he still lights up. Hold on. I'm trying to. It's hard to do this. But he definitely works. He definitely works. But yeah. So I got his little thing for him, and I've got the little snarf, and but this was the first thing that she got me from eBay. I think it was like a birthday gift or something, and I cherish him. Like I love this line. But that kind of ignited my love for toys again. I mean, I had a little spark with the Star Wars toys in junior college, and then eBay showed up, and that's when it became real, because then we were able to actually acquire all of these toys either that we didn't have as kids and always wanted, or we had as kids and lost. And it wasn't just like go to your local toy shop and you're at the will of whatever you can find in that store. Now all of a sudden you had the whole country available to you and what people were putting for sale online. So that was just like, wow, like mind blown, right? And so I started to collect some toys then, and it didn't get too big and heavy. And when my toy collecting really like blew off the charts, and it probably happened for a lot of us during COVID, during the shutdown, and we were bored off our minds. And I'm like, I was in my office one day because I'm working from home, and I had a couple toys on the shelf. It was very minimal, right? I had a couple totes in the closet, and I'm like, screw these books and all this crap on here. I'm like, I'm working from home. I want to like be happy in my workspace. I'm gonna dig my toys out of their totes in the closet, and I'm gonna start displaying them. Right. And that was like slippery slope, Lawrence, because I started to display my toys, and I'm like, oh, these Star Wars guys, like, they need a little play set here. So then I'd like order like like a cantina from like eBay. And I'm like, oh, I need some more like whatever's to fill out this scene. And then I'm like, oh, well, now I can make like a Bespin scene, or like a Tatooine scene here. Like, oh, it'd be cool to have a Bespin shelf. It'd be cool to have a hot shelf. So I was so bored during COVID that I started to like buy all these like things, and we were saving money at home because we weren't paying for lunch at work or gas or clothes for work or anything. So we had a little bit of extra money to burn. And so my toy collection kind of like blew up at that time.
I've said this. I loved COVID. I sound awful, but like it was just me and my kids.
Yeah.
When they were with me, and they were younger. My son didn't hate me yet.
Did you work from home during that time too, or were you?
Oh no. I
you had to still go out.
Yeah, so we had a lot of nursing homes. Matter of fact, a lot of the nursing homes, it started where we were at, because they shoved all the people with COVID in these nursing homes. And so, I mean, we're going in. I gotta knock really light, because if I knock too loud, he'll think someone's at the door and flip out.
Yeah.
I've never gotten it.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. I'll knock on wood for you.
Yeah. If he hears it, he'll flip out and start barking.
No, you're good. You're good. Well, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. So I want to go back to high school. So you weren't playing with toys or collecting. Did you start buying comics? What did you do in high school?
I still bought some comic books. I did. I enjoyed those. I played lots of video games. I got more into like music and stuff in high school. And then junior college, it was like, everyone was listening to grunge music and that kind of stuff. Like it was the early 90s or the mid 90s. I graduated high school in 94. So yeah, toys kind of took like a backseat. I mean, I still had some of my toys from my childhood, a small collection, but I wasn't really collecting stuff back then. Um, but I always liked, I still love those TV shows, and like I still kind of bought some comic books here and
Were you
there.
collecting anything? Because I always say, like, a collector's a collector. If you took the toys away and said you can't collect toys, I'm gonna find something else to collect.
Yeah.
If you said you can't collect skateboards, you can't
Yeah.
collect toys, good luck finding
Yeah.
something else to collect.
You know what I
You're
was
gonna walk into
collecting?
Target and be like, hey, look, plates. I can collect plates.
So do you remember back in like, I guess late 80s, early 90s, there was like that BMG music service. So it was like you buy one CD and you got like 12 free or something like that.
I think I still have a subscription.
Probably, right? You're still getting CDs in the mail to this day.
So I was got a cassette the other day from it.
And that is actually also where my love of like classic rock music came from, right?
Okay.
Because I was like buying all of these CDs and I'm like, oh, I like this band. What did they used to play before? And like I was just getting into like genres of, even though I was born in 76, but still, the tail end of like classic rock. And then you got into 80s music, which I love too. But I got to learn a lot about that music. And so that was like, grew my love of music. And then of course, those discs turned into MP3s, and then your music love grew even more. So when I was in school, we were collecting songs through like Napster. You remember Napster? Where you could just download a ton of music, and we'd be in the
what is it? LimeWire.
LimeWire and Napster. We would be in my design lab in college for our architecture class, and we had high speed internet in there, right? Not dial up like we had at home. And so we'd be on our computers in the lab just downloading the heck out of music. And my teacher would be like, why is our network so slow? What's going on in here? And because everybody was like downloading songs in the background, like you just see like, hundreds of the blue bars just like downloading music. And so I would collect music back then. That was kind of like my thing in between the toy collecting.
Yeah, no, it just feels like collectors are collectors. We're gonna find something to collect. Because I used to.
What did you do? Like when you were a child, you had toys, and did you stop at a certain age, and then how did you start back up again?
So I would say, for me, I was, I played with G.I. Joe in middle school, but on the down low.
Yeah.
And I talk about this all the time. I feel like everyone in middle school was still playing with toys, but they didn't let anyone know.
Yeah.
Because there was that dirty
few things here and there. Yeah.
Around 12, my mom died when I was 13. So
I'm sorry.
Before that, I did karate, but I started skateboarding probably around 11.
Oh, nice.
And that just overtook my whole entire life.
Yep, that's about the age. You were those kids in like the Vans and like the OP shorts.
I've never had a pair of Vans in my entire life.
You never had a pair of Vans and you skateboarded?
I hate Vans. My daughter loves them. I'm like, I hate them.
Did you have any like TNC surf design?
I love TNC surf.
Yeah, I love these guys. Hopefully they make more of the crew. I love them.
that game of them just doing board slides on that stupid
Nintendo game
the whole time, yeah. and then the surf. I actually like to surf more.
Oh, I do too.
Skateboarding,
California girl.
But no, I like 11, and when my mom passed away, it all went to skateboarding, and I would say probably about 22. That's 22, 23. That's what I did. I skated. I got back into. I always had stuff. As California might have been a little bit different, but here in Michigan, the 90s, it was a dead year. It was a dead time for skateboarding. It just died.
Yeah.
And you were an outcast. So I'm a punk rocker. I'm a skateboarder. So all the guys I hung out with, like, I always had my G.I. Joes out. Like, yeah. You can't really insult us anymore. So none of my friends really thought too much about it. But I remember we even to this day, first, I always tell my kids, go into a store, the first place you go to the toy section.
Yep.
Why? Well, because they might have that one thing. The milk will still be there, all right?
Exactly.
The milk will be there.
It can keep.
Yeah,
And then
burn this
before
on
you
the
know you're all
coin.
excited about, you forget the damn milk, and you get home. You're like, damn, I needed milk. I got my figure. I got my figure.
But I was always picking stuff up if I liked it. And I remember I still have the original Spawn figure. I still have my original Spawn figure, but it was really, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. It was the power of the Force.
Yeah.
When 95 that hit, we searched everywhere.
You're right, and you just reminded me of it. That's when we were like, oh my god, we got to buy these toys again, because I was already into getting these vintage Star Wars figures that were picking up for $5 a piece. And then didn't you think like the damn Power of the Force figures are going to be worth a fortune, so you're buying like a closed one and open one? Well, we still do that today.
I had one of each for the first few waves, few lines, whatever.
Yeah.
One in the box, one not. And then I started doing, oh my God, they changed. There's a short lightsaber. Oh, but there's the long.
Yep.
There's a long saber tray, but with the short saber, then the short saber. Then there's the Boba Fett with the half moons, and then there's Boba Fett half moon with the .01. Oh, and then there's
he got to the
Jedi Luke with gray and Jedi Luke. I had all of them.
Wow,
all of them.
That's incredible.
And there were shit. That's why when we did May the Power of the Force this year, reviewing old figures, I was like, you can pick one up for $5 to $10
everywhere. Flooding places.
When we all did it, because we had every day someone else reviewed a new figure. Or it might have been the same one.
Yeah.
And I remember getting it, and then I'm watching, I'm like, these figures are really fun.
Yeah.
They were just a lot of fun.
Roided out like Luke and Han.
Luke never looked so good. I'm just saying.
Oh my God. Right? He was hitting the gym in the 90s. I gotta tell you.
Han Solo. I could never, even as a kid, and we weren't even kids, we were 18.
Yeah.
18, 19. And we all made jokes, but I just remember, why is Darth Vader muscular? He is a robot.
Yeah.
Who said we need to make a muscular Darth Vader?
I don't know who thought of those. It was hilarious.
And it wasn't even a gradual stop.
Even Leia was all beefed up. All of them.
It went from all of these guys muscular to all of a sudden they're natural. And you're like, wait a minute, they all got off the steroids all at the same time.
They went on a program. Program.
But that was it. And then I would pick up things here and there, and a lot of Star Wars, a lot of the Power of the Force. And when I sold it, I didn't get any money back because it was nothing. But then it's always been here and there. And then when my kids came along, you have to put priorities. It was after I picked up I would pick up vintage G.I. Joe stuff. Yeah, trying to complete the O-ring line. Never gonna happen. And then when my ex and I split up, then I started getting that. I started getting more O-ring stuff, but it was when the classified came. And then COVID, and then
your toy collection exploded.
Oh man, and then this whole YouTube thing started. This YouTube thing was supposed to be, I was reviewing the original or the new classified because I had the O-rings, and I had seen no one doing it, and I was just like, hey, I wonder how close they are. Yeah, and then it just became this. It was when I did the Valaverse stuff that really shot up because everyone said it's the biggest piece of shit figures or they're the greatest figures. It can't be one. It's got to be in between. Yeah. And people started liking it because this may come as a shock. I give my honest opinion, and sometimes it's not what everyone thinks. Everyone wants to hear.
You give your honest opinion? What a shock, Lawrence.
Yes. You're going to get it whether you like it or not. Yep. So I didn't expect to be here. I didn't. When I did my first live, I'm like, why is anyone going to listen to me? Yeah. But here I am, almost 2 years later, doing lives, and you're just like,
that's incredible.
People actually want to hear what I have to say. God bless you.
What's fun with connecting with fellow collectors, right? Sharing our passion for what we enjoy, and only us understand each other, right? And why why we get so excited about, a damn figure like this. Like, why does this make me so happy?
And,
Only you guys could get that.
and I think what's the craziest thing about this, and we'll get back on track in a minute, but I was watching, and I don't watch him very often, Displaying Model Behavior. Him and Dan Hu were on. And I just happened to catch this episode, and they were talking about it, and Dave, that's model, Displaying Model Behavior, he said it's crazy how this drama, where if you were in your office and you collect GI Joe, I don't remember if that's what he said, but you walk by someone and they have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles there, you may not collect that, but all of a sudden there's this kinship, and you're going to be like, oh, hey, do you collect, right? And then you have this kinship. Yeah. But here you're on the internet, and you collect turtles, and I don't like turtles, and you don't like GI Joe, and it's like, well, fuck you, I don't like. Wait, where did that come from? How did we go from like, hey, we're collectors, we were all ridiculed at some point, to oh, screw you, you were more ridiculed than I was for what you collected. But I thought it was such a good analogy what he had said, and I repeat it all the time, and I give him credit because I didn't come up with it. Yeah. But it's so true. Like if you walk by someone, hell, you could see someone. I mean, again, it could be any type of toy, and you're going to be like, I need to make my way back around. I just started this job, and that's a person I'm going to be friends with. If I see someone that skateboards somewhere, I'm going to somehow find a way to talk to them.
Yeah.
Or I won't talk to anyone at all. That's probably a better. As much as I talk, I like trying to avoid people because I know what happens when I do start talking. But to get back, so you went to college, I'm assuming, to be an architect.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you collect toys. So, how long have you been with your husband?
It's going to be 19. It's been 19 years.
Okay, together. So did you meet him in college?
No, we met after college.
That would be
just right after college when I moved back to LA. Okay. And we've been married 17 years, together 19 years. Change.
All right, so now where did you go to college again?
In San Luis Obispo, so it's Central California.
Okay.
And it's like right by the coast, so the Central Coast of California. And it's a very famous architecture school. So Cal Poly, it's known for its architecture and engineering. So a whole bunch of, it's funny because it's like a bunch of like architects and engineers, and then like ag stuff and cowboys and that kind of thing. So it's like this cool, crazy mix. And then they've got an awesome business school there too. So,
but you went for architecture.
I went for architecture.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, how far away is that from where you moved back to?
3 hours. It's like a little under 200 miles away. And so I would visit like, holidays and weekends here and there. But I loved my college life, and I had an amazing group of friends. To this day, like my best friend still lives up there. She stayed there after college, and I've made lifelong friends in college that we were very close with. I'm Jewish, and so we had this fun social club, Hillel. But we weren't religious, but we just all hung out together. So we made this incredible group of friends, and we were like, have like bonfires and picnics and scavenger hunts and parties at each other's houses. And just like, we just became this like amazing group of friends that I met through this awesome club at the campus. And so we've all stayed in touch through that. And it was just an incredible experience. And college, to be an architect, it's almost as long as having to be a lawyer. It's like I'm going to use air quotes, a 5-year program at the school, but you got to take like a bazillion units each year. So nobody finishes in 5 years. It takes like 6 or 7. And then because I transferred, it took like an extra semester or 2. So it's a very long process to become an architect.
But I'm okay with that because like a doctor, I don't want them to build something that's just going to fall down. Like I don't want a doctor to be like, well, you were my first patient and the schooling wasn't that great. And I finished up really quick. But I like that you said it's like a lawyer because that's what my daughter wants to be. So
that's awesome. And that's an incredible career.
Yeah. And I told her you just need to have enough money that when I need it, that's where I need to live with you. Exactly. I'm not going to nursing home. Well, mom
Exactly.
said that too. I go, which one of us do you want living with you? I go, your mom can move in. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I'm staying with you. And she's like, fine.
Are we getting that old that we're just gonna have to start planning like who we're gonna live with? And I don't have any children, so I guess I'm screwed.
I've already planned it. I told you I've already planned it. Well, first off, I don't think my son would let me live with him. Second off, I'm not sure my son's ever going to move out. So that's a whole nother.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you'll be stuck together then for a long time.
You can have the house when I move in with my daughter, so she can take care of me. But her and I, she's just, let's watch this TV show. All right, so we're sitting there watching a TV show, and that's like what we do. Like she absolutely loves it. All right, so when you got out of college, what did you do like during that time?
I got a job in an architecture office. It was a decent sized firm. It was down in like kind of Long Beach area, so like not LA proper, but like more South LA. And then I met my husband, future husband, right? We started dating, but he lived in I'm going to call it the west side of LA, so up further north in LA, and we were traveling back and forth to see each other.
How long of a distance?
So it was like I want to say maybe 30-40 miles.
Okay.
So it was quite a little distance, but in Los Angeles that's a lot because there's a ton of traffic going down south to Long Beach.
So how long of a drive is that?
Sometimes it would take like an hour and a half, depending on what time of day it was. So that was kind of tough in the beginning, and we instantly like fell in love. And after 3 months of just dating, we knew we were right for each other, but we didn't get engaged or anything. We just kind of knew like he was the one and she was the one. And then on our 1 year like anniversary of our first date, my husband proposed to me. It was great. He proposed to me on the beach because we love the beach. And yeah, the rest is kind of history. We've been together ever since. But yeah, and we're best friends. He's not a toy collector at all, but he appreciates, and allows me to do my thing. He supports me in it.
But were you collecting anything, or were you just working? Like
I was working. No, I did. I mean, like maybe barely, like here and there, but I really wasn't. I might have picked up a couple comics here and there, and maybe one or two toys just like really randomly, but I wasn't collecting anything. I still I had some of my childhood toys in a couple totes that I would take with me as we moved from place to place, and because we moved several times after we got married, and then all that kind of stuff, kind of moving into from an apartment to townhouse to our first home. And so I wasn't really collecting toys back then. I was, I still liked them, but it's funny. I still had like that bug. Like I got into them again during Power of the Force and the Star Wars stuff in college, but it kind of like stopped for a while there. And then during COVID, it was like when the shutdown happened. It's like when I started taking out my toys again.
So
really ignited everything.
That's right. You've been married for 10 years.
No.
You've been married, but you've been married 10 years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you start collecting toys. And he has no idea. Like,
I mean, he knew I had some childhood toys.
Yeah, but
I had a few things out on the shelves.
I can look there. You don't have just some childhood toys.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
So like if I met someone, if I started dating someone now, she's coming in knowing the mess that I am. All right. So here he is, he thinks everything's good. And all of a sudden, like, how do you break to him that, hey, I'm buying some toys? And he's like, oh, okay. And then because that collection
it grew over time. We were on lockdown for like 3 years, right? And so
is it that long? It seems
it
was so long. It's so long.
So 3 years was a long time, right?
That time was just stood still, right?
Yeah, here's also what happened in those 3 years. So besides me starting to slowly collect toys, and I was like bored, and then I'd go I was doing some toy photography at the time, and then I met Michael, as I explained how we met before, with trading the hero staff, and then you know what really like started happening was Motu Origins came out. Motu Origins came out, and I was like, wow, like this stuff is coming out in retail again, like the toys we loved as kids. It started with Motu Origins, you know, GI Joe Classified, and then shortly thereafter we got like Masterverse figures. This stuff started coming out at Target, and me and my husband love Target. We call it Target. We shop there all the time. I've got like 6 Targets like in my vicinity that I can easily drive to, like way too many Target stores. And I live in the West Valley, so we've got Targets like all over the place. And
when I hear something quickly, when I hear someone say something about how like, oh, the closest Target is like 20 miles away, I'm like, if I drove 20 miles, I would probably hit 10 to 11 Targets and probably 7 to 8 Walmarts.
Exactly. Like, I don't have that many Walmarts near me as much as you do, but
if I said it, like I can map out from one point where I'm at, because I'm on the east side of Detroit. Oh, before I even get to Detroit, like depending on where I'm going, I can hit 9 to 10 Targets pretty easily.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, me too.
And they all have the same shit, so it doesn't matter.
They all have the same shit. So and so stuff started coming out. So I started like slowly like ordering things, and then when things started to open up again, I was still working from home, but like the Target stores started opening up. So we were able to go shop again. And I was like, oh, there's all this like cool stuff coming out that I've been missing. So we haven't been able to go in the stores for like a year and a half or something. And then me and Michael met, and I started getting like intel for, just because I was like watching all these YouTube channels because I was so bored. And I was like, oh, you know, it's kind of cool. Like, oh, this like release dates on this day, or like this Target employee told me like they might have some in the back, but they're not coming out till like, you know, here's the release date for this. And so I got, all the stores in the area are going to get that. So I would be starting to like feed this information to Michael, right? So they would talk about it on their YouTube channel.
That vaunted Target street date. I'm sorry, you can't have this G.I. Joe figure. Fuck you! You have it!
Goddamn, I just hear you get that big like X and it doesn't let you check out. You're like, damn it!
We have 6 of these in the back, but we can't sell it for another 4 weeks. Like, you can just go get it.
Yeah. Okay, so it was kind of a combination of things happening at the same time. Me slowly starting to buy more toys again because we were home bored with COVID, taking out my old collection and starting to put them on display. It didn't like all pop out at once, right? This was a gradual thing over a few years. And then, as I said, I was watching these YouTube channels, and so I was sending Michael information, and he was doing the show with Larry for a little while, and then Michael was like, you know, I really want to start a website, but Larry doesn't want to do this with me. And I was just like moderating their comments for them and like feeding them news stories because they were kind of getting more into news on their videos. And so he's like, would you be interested in doing the website with me? And I was like, I have no clue how to do a website, but sure, sounds like fun. You know, I had some spare time because I was working from home. So I was able to do it. And so we dove in to working on the website with each other. And so because I was working on a toy collecting website, my toy collecting started ramping up, right? So my husband, like, he knew that I was going to do this. He knew I was kind of helping Michael in the beginning. So it was kind of like a natural, gradual change. And so that's when my toy collecting kind of ramped up a lot, you know, in that time. And we worked on the website, you know, from the ground up and trying to get ideas as to what is people going to come to the site for besides just toy news. You know, we were finding like links for stuff and things were kind of like randomly.
You guys are amazing.
We were trying to organize all that. And
you're amazing with the links. I got to say that.
And so, you know what we thought of, which was the genius thing, because we had to keep like going back to like old articles and stuff to like find the links and organize links. I was like, why don't we have like actual shop pages for this stuff? How cool would that be? Because then every time something new comes out, you just go to the shop page. You can find all the links there and click it instantaneously. Hey, you know, BBTS is sold out. Let me check EE. Let me check Amazon. Let me check like Hasbro Pulse. And you have all of that right there in our article for each toy in the wave or whatever figures it is. And it's so easy to find because it just links you right away and it's all organized. So we created these amazing shop pages on our website. And I'm like, you know, we were talking about, well, this is cool for the toys that are coming out, but what about vintage stuff? eBay's a mess and there's things all over the place. What if we did awesome shop pages for example, the first 10 waves of GI Joe O-rings, right? So we went on this incredible adventure to try and catalog all of waves 1 through 10, the first like 10 years of GI Joe, and put them on shop pages for not only ease to shop. So like we had this way of filtering out all the garbage on eBay so that when you click on our links, like you get clean searches for each of these figures, right? We thought it would be a cool way to find stuff, but it's a fun way to shop because you might be like, oh, I like the figures from like 85, but let me see like which ones I'm missing for my collection. You can see them all laid out there. It's kind of like a museum, right? So you have like all the figures from each of the waves. They're all in alphabetical order, and then all the vehicles. So I got to tell you, this was a huge venture for us. So Michael had a ton of GI Joe figures, and I had some from the first 10 waves. So he actually took all of his Joes, bagged them up, shipped the whole box down to me so I could photograph them. And I'm like, you trust the post office with all your vintage Joes in the mail?
I wouldn't trust you. I'm not trusting anyone with my stuff.
Yeah, so he shipped all he had the first wave, the first 1.5 with like the straight arm, the swivel arm, like all of them. He shipped all of those figures down to me, and I photographed them all one by one. And then the few figures we couldn't find, I had to source images on the internet and like just clean them up. And then of course we didn't have very many boxed items at all for play sets or vehicles or accessory packs. So then I went through the process of sourcing all the images online from just open sourcing stuff, but I had to clean them all up because a lot of these packages were ripped, they were beat up, they had like writing on them or like big stickers, or sometimes they were just thrown on like someone's floor. So I got to learn how to like Photoshop them all and like kind of skew them and straighten them and like recreate the missing corners and clean them and restore all this box art so that we had these beautiful images on our shop pages for all the vintage GI Joe of all the first 10 waves of everything in every single wave. And it was such a fun, like, kind of piece of Joe history and reference material, and it made it fun to shop too. So that was kind of like a neat thing we did on our website. It's still there if you go on the Vintage Joe shop page. But it was like a fun thing to do. It was an adventure, and it was neat because you're being kind of like entrepreneurial at the same time. So we would come up with these cool ideas and then implement them on the website, not only covering news, helping people find stuff with all the links we have. People started coming to us with like leaks and information because they knew they could trust us with it. And we're very careful with our sources. Michael's incredible at getting that kind of information. And he's great about like digging up like hidden links online and finding listings for stuff that people can't find. Michael is incredible at doing that. So Michael, I'm going to give you a huge shout out for that. So that's kind of what we started specializing in on the website.
And my moderator just mentioned, he sent me a text that you guys were in lockdown longer than most of us.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
I was never in lockdown because
working. Yeah.
We worked from home for I think 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And we didn't know how much work we would have. So we were hitting the table, and it finally got to the point where the owner was like, all right, we have way too much work. I can't keep paying them per call.
Yeah.
And it's killing me.
Oh my God.
But it was the greatest, I think 8 weeks, 6. I mean, I felt like a millionaire. I had so much damn money. Like I couldn't.
Yeah, that's right. Hence why the toy buying.
But yeah, it's I miss that time. It's so weird.
Yeah. So and just getting back to, I guess, I can get to how we got to YouTube together. So Michael and Larry were doing the YouTube channel together for like a little over a year. And in the background, me and Michael were working on the website. We had toyhabits.com, and then there was Toy Habits, the YouTube channel. Now, it was kind of a little bit of a sore subject, maybe, with Larry. I don't know, and I didn't want to get in the way or get involved. I was just working my little fanny off with Michael on the website. But I think it was a little bit of a sore subject, so he didn't really bring up the website when he was on YouTube with Larry, because I don't know if maybe he felt a little threatened, or I don't know what, right? So he
Yeah.
kind of wouldn't talk about it. And it was like an odd thing. And poor Michael was doing all of the work. He was editing all the videos, he was coming up with all the ideas, and Larry would show up and talk. And in the meantime, me and Michael were also working on the website. So he was like doing double duty and working his butt off. And he was very frustrated. And I felt really bad for him. And this was going on for quite a long time. And so eventually they had a falling out. And so we had been doing the website together for a little over a year by that point. And that's when the YouTube channel went on a hiatus, right? And so Michael and Larry had a falling out, and the YouTube channel kind of stopped. And Michael was, poor thing, was exhausted. He had been working his butt off. He wasn't getting any support from Larry, and he was about to quit YouTube like altogether. I'm like, it's okay. Do what you need to do. Take your time. It's, if you don't want to do YouTube anymore, you're good. We have the website. We're working great on this thing. And so he took some time off. And then a huge, huge thanks to Mega J Retro, because Jay, with his warm heart and his amazing personality, he had asked Michael on his show a few times on his live stream, and then he invited me a few times, and sometimes he invited us together, right? And I had never done a live stream. I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing.
Can I ask you a quick question though about Mega J? Does he hit you up like 15 minutes before he goes live, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to go live?" I'm like,
"Yep."
Dude, you're like 3 hours like behind me.
Oh yeah.
Do you really? Yeah, I'll go live.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm
like, dude, I'm like in my pajamas, like right now, because he's a late night guy. Jay is amazing, and I can tell you some awesome stories. We had so much fun with him at San Diego.
Oh, I met him twice. I met him. Well, I mean, I spent Joe Fest with him.
Yeah.
I met him the one day at PowerCon, and again, I had a lot of fun with Jay.
He is awesome, and I can go into a couple stories from that time. But we so we went on the show together, like me and Michael and Mega J on his YouTube channel several times, and Michael was like, "Oh, that was like really fun, like being on a show again." And it's exciting to like talk to the collectors and our fellow viewers and everything. He's like, it feels good to do that. And he's like, people are giving some good feedback, like, "Oh, you and Michael seem to have a great chemistry together." Like, "Oh, thanks. That's wonderful." And then we were talking, and I thought to myself, like, he was working so hard doing all these pre-recorded videos. Like, wouldn't it be great if like me and him could just do like a weekly live stream? I'm like, we're already creating all this content for the website. So the content's done. It's already there. All we need to do is show up to our weekly show, put together a thumbnail, and we can share the content we've already worked so hard to create on the website. We're not recreating content, and we can stay connected with the viewers and our fellow collectors and have a good time. So I kind of, ran the idea by Michael. I'm like, what do you think? Like, that would be kind of cool. And I first I said you could just do a live stream, and I was like, if you can do it by yourself, you can do it with someone else. Because he was kind of thinking it was like nice to be on YouTube again. I didn't push like me being on there with them. I was just kind of like, I'll support you, whatever you want to do. Just being a good partner on the website with them. And then after the interactions on Mega J, he was like, "Well, do you want to do the show with me?" And I was like, "Sure, I'd be happy to do that. Like, I'm here to be supportive, and let's do it." Because like we seem to have fun together, and that's kind of how, I guess I'll call it Toy Habits 2.0 started. And it was after him, really needing a break from what he was doing before.
Well, so I gotta say, I used to watch. I mean, I used to watch Toy Habits with Larry and Michael.
Yeah.
And it was just, I enjoyed it, but
yeah,
it was just them talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when you got on there, and one thing I said to my moderator when I started
Mm-hmm.
my doing lives, and I said, I just don't want to be boring. He goes, "You are anything but boring." I can say the exact same thing about you. You are anything but boring. But
thank you.
and Michael is not nearly as animated as you are.
Yeah.
But I think you pull a lot of that out of him. Where him and Larry, it was just, let's talk toys, and
yeah,
you are very animated. And I think I can speak to experience.
Well, thank you, Lawrence. I'm just being me. This is just my natural me.
And that's what people want. If you're boring, you're boring. I mean, I guess you can't help it. But your chemistry that the two of you have is just really good. because it's not like if there was two people that were just overly like you,
Yeah.
no offense, just like if there's two people like me, I think it's fun for a while, but then people are like, oh my god.
Yeah.
There's got to be some give and take, and the
Mhm.
chemistry that you two have is way better, in my personal opinion. I think most people would say, and I think the
I
numbers would
appreciate
tell you,
Yeah.
way better than what you were getting in the interaction. Knowing that before they really didn't, they might have highlighted a few questions, but they never really
Yeah.
brought anything up. And
Yeah.
if you don't interact with your fans,
Exactly.
I hate that word. You don't
Our fellow collectors. So these are
you don't
we're all part of the same community.
if you don't interact with them,
Mhm.
then you're just talking to them, not with them.
Exactly. Which
And
is not us at all. And we I mean, we'll chat with all our viewers, our fellow collectors, on Instagram, on we have Discord. So for all of our at a high level channel members, we've got a Discord. So they're all chatting all day. And me and Michael jump on there every once in a while when we can. We're super busy with our day jobs. I need to get on Discord more often, but we have an amazing crew. And they're having a blast. And I see their messages passing back and forth while I'm at work all day. And I'm like, I wish I could jump in there and be chit-chatting a little bit more often with them. But they're friends. We've made lifelong friendships with all of these people. Like we consider them our friends. They're not fans, they're not viewers. We're all part of one community. And I mean that, and even, meeting people like you or Ken or Jay or other Jay, we got multiple J's. We've made lifelong friendships with all these people. And even for some of us that we haven't gotten to meet in person, we still consider friends, right? So it's that interaction that just makes this worth it. And let me tell you, even with our channel being like a mid-size or whatever, we don't make much money at all. It's very it's I don't want to say the number, it's very small. We're not doing this for the money at all. Like YouTube pays diddly squat. Just to tell everybody out there, we're doing it to interact with the community and enjoy and be with all of you folks. And we need a little bit of something to pay for the bills, right? To fund doing this. This costs money. I got a computer. It costs money, so we need to make a little to fund our equipment and stuff.
Yeah, I've discussed this numerous times on my line about like how much time I spend in front of this, and you know this, how much time we spend and I don't do a lot of editing, but getting figures, putting them together, doing the review, uploading it, doing a lot. Monday, like this to me, this here, all I have to do is get a guest on. I don't need questions. We're walking through your life, right? Monday, I'm doing slides. I'm doing all this on Sunday.
Yep.
And no one cares. It's like an actor. I said no one cared what Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds went through to give us Deadpool. We just want it to be really good, right?
Good. Yeah.
So they don't care, and they shouldn't. But it is great when people send the super chats. They become channel members.
Yes.
And I do think a lot of people see this and like, they're contacting me all day on Instagram. And you feel bad when you don't get back right away, or if something gets lost. But it's like, it's not my job. I'm doing this.
We all have full-time jobs.
But I try and talk with as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And then you grow specific friendships.
Yeah.
So I go to Joe Fest.
Mm-hmm.
Tony's Figs is one of my best friends.
Aww.
And I finally, we finally actually met. And Ken, I finally met. I had met Mega J before. I met Ed, Action Figs Ed before.
Yeah.
But there were so many people at Joe Fest that you got to meet. And all it is just a one big 3 or 4 day long event.
Yep.
And you're in the hotel room where the convention is.
Yeah.
You don't have to drive somewhere to get home to your hotel. You just have to walk. And by 3 in the morning, the last thing you want to do is walk, let alone get in your car and drive 10 minutes to a hotel that you're not at.
When we were at San Diego Comic-Con, we were staying 1.5 miles from the convention center, but it was still a little bit too far to walk because it's like very hilly and like,
long. After a long day, it's like I don't want to go there.
And you're on your feet for like 8-9 hours walking around a convention center. The last thing you want to do is walk. But we had an incredible time. Got to meet Mega J in person. Totally bonded with him and his friend Danny, which is a total crack up. And his friend Danny is great. He's like Titan Toys. Like this guy is hilarious. He works for like this Titan toy company, and he was just the funniest guy ever. So we hung out with them the whole weekend. We saw a whole bunch of other friends there. Mad Hatter was there. Jay from Geek Dad Life was there. God, we met everybody. The gang from Toy Anxiety was there. Pixel Down was there. We ran into him several times throughout the weekend. But getting to meet like our fellow toy tubers in person that we have been friends with for several years now. We've been doing this our website for like 3 years now, I guess, and the YouTube channel for like almost 2 together. It was amazing. It was amazing getting to share those memories, meeting each other in person, bonding together over this incredible experience. And like, it's great. You do this, for the friendships, for the experience. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Like I've made friends here that I will keep forever. Me and Ken are great friends, and we're always IMing each other on Instagram. But like, I haven't gotten to meet him in person yet, right?
Oh, you haven't got to meet Drunk Ken?
No, but like we're good friends, and he's amazing. Ken, I love Ken. Ken from Toy Connections.
You guys go to Joe Fest next year.
Yeah, I know.
Joe Fest, yeah. I mean,
It looks amazing.
I was only at PowerCon for one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I drove in. I was there for the day and drove home, and it was already rough because the week before, I drove down to Florida, and we just drove back.
Oh my god, so that's far.
I'm like, okay, first it's Columbus, that awful state of Ohio, and the Columbus and those Ohio State fans. Anyway, it's 4 hours, no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't. Other than like, oh my god, I just drove 23 hours straight insane. 2 weeks ago, and then just drove back. The last thing I want to do is drive home. But there's no hotel there. What's so awesome about Joe Fest is that almost everyone's staying at the hotel. So and the hotel is just the hotel is full of just Joe fans, right? So they let you sit out in the lobby. You're loud. They don't care because there's no hotel. There's no rooms by the lobby.
Yeah.
So it's just this big, huge,
that's awesome.
hangout. And it's 3 or 4 days, and I loved it. Like it was one of the best times of my life. And
that's so cool. Memories are gonna hold with you forever, right? Yeah. I mean, it's incredible.
And I don't think me going again, I'm planning on going next year, and I want to go every single year. I don't think it can get better than this year, only because there's so many people that I met for the first time. I don't think it's possible to meet that many people for the first time again. But I'm like, all these guys from overseas, they're like, I can't wait to come back next year.
Yeah.
Some of them, it was their second year. So I just tell everyone, I'm like, you need to go to Joe Fest. And I think what makes the experience so good is that you're more than likely you're staying at that hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just there. You don't need to worry about it.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
No one's drinking and driving, or they may be drinking and walking. And I don't drink, so
going back to the room, right?
Yeah. Well, like I said, we were in the suites, so like our hotel, like our room was almost the furthest away.
Mm-hmm.
By 3 o'clock in the morning, you're like, that's a long hallway. But I want to go to San Diego Comic-Con at least once eventually.
Yeah,
but
it's big, it's overwhelming, it's very expensive. I mean, we stayed in, I'm gonna call it a motel because it looked like a nicer hotel in the picture. It wasn't. It was a fortune, I gotta tell you. So it was,
well, that's why I said if she lives in San Diego, so
stay with her. I think next year it's funny, we were talking about like all of us getting like maybe like an Airbnb or something like that instead, because
they had talked about doing that for Joe Fest, and then that fell through because of what happened with a few people. But I think for San Diego that'd be way smarter.
It actually, we're supposed to be buying our return badges Saturday for next year.
Oh,
already. We just left there.
You mind me asking how much that is?
For the whole weekend, it was like $300 and something for just the badge. Yeah, and you don't even want to know how much the hotel cost a night. You don't even want to know, and it was like a motel room, you know. Yeah. Yep.
I love that though. So
Yeah. But it was fun though, because like, well, we shared it. It was like me and my husband, and then Michael. It was a two double beds or whatever, so it was fine. So we slept on one, and Michael slept on the other. We couldn't afford two rooms. It was way too expensive. It was a fortune as it was. And then when we would come back every night after the convention, and then like we would share an Uber back, and we were hanging out with Mega J and Danny, his friend that was in town also, and so we'd hang out in our hotel room, and we were there. It was hilarious. The first night we were there, the five of us come back to the hotel room and we're starving, and it's like 11:30 at night, and like everything's starting to close, and we're like, let's just order a pizza. Like we couldn't take the car anywhere because we would not get a parking space when we came back, so we're like, we'll just order a pizza pie, have it delivered to the room, and we'll eat. Great. So I'm like, oh, there's a Domino's like 2 blocks away, but it had just closed. My husband found some other pizza on Fifth or something it was called. So he ordered with what's that, DoorDash or Uber or something? Yeah. And so he's watching on his app, and like, it says it's going to be there in like half an hour. So half an hour goes by, nothing comes. Another 15-20 minutes, nothing comes. And then we start to see on his app, like one by one, the drivers would show up to the restaurant, wait like 10 minutes, and then go away. And then it happened to like 4 or 5 drivers to show up to the restaurant on this app, and they would all disappear. We're like, what the hell's going on with the pizza pie? And then finally, like almost 1 o'clock in the morning at this point, we're starving. And some we could see a driver finally took the pizza, but now he's driving in circles around downtown San Diego. And we're like, well, it's pizza on Fifth because it took 5 drivers to get our pizza to our freaking hotel room. And so it shows the name of the driver. His name's Joven. So this was like a joke we were cracking up about all weekend. We're like, where the hell is Joven taking our pizza? He's driving it around San Diego everywhere. He finally gets to our hotel room because there's like all these crazy one-way streets all over, typically downtowns have one-way streets. So the guy finally makes it to our hotel room. It's like, 1 o'clock in the morning. He's like shoves the pizza in the door, and it's all like messed up and shit. And he looks at us like he didn't give us plates, he gives us nothing, just the big box, right? And he like takes off. We open it up. The pizza literally is like someone like took the ingredients, just like threw them on top because there's like a few things in the middle and like all cheese around it. And then Mega J says, "Oh, where's the plates?" And I'm looking at him like, does this look like a restaurant? We start cracking up like, what are we gonna eat on? Because we're just sitting around this hotel room, and we start eating on, I don't know if it was like toilet paper or like napkins from the bathroom. I think they're like tissue paper, like Kleenex, Kleenex box. I think Danny found, so we're like eating on a Kleenex box. It was hilarious. We're like cracking up, and so the whole weekend we're like joking around about Joven, like absconding our pie because we were like dead starving. But it was a great time, and we were cracking up. But just fun memories we had. We just had so many fun memories.
It would have been even better had you ordered like a 2 liter of Coke and they gave you a 2 liter of Pepsi, because he will not
drink Pepsi, right?
He will not drink Pepsi products.
Yeah. And he cracked me up. He's like, "Oh yeah, like we got here yesterday for like preview night." He's like, "We went to Applejack's," and I'm like, "Is that a toy store or something? What do you mean you went to Applejack's?" He's like, "Yeah, we went to Applejack's to eat." I'm like, "What is that?" And then he's thinking for a minute. He's like, "Oh, wait." He's like, "Oh, Jack in the Box." It was so cute because he's from Canada, so he wasn't used to it. I'm like, "Oh, that's adorable." Like he mixed up the name, and it was just such a cute story.
Well, even like when he came down to like the PowerCon and then Joe Fest, where he did like his searches, especially PowerCon because they drove there.
Yeah,
you're just like, he's so amazed by it. I'm like,
yeah,
this is like every 10 miles or maybe less, like every 5 miles I have this, like, and they're all shocked when I say Tim Hortons. I'm like, you have Tim Hortons? I'm like, we're in fucking Michigan, all right? Like, I say it all the time. Canada's closer than Ohio. It's closer than anything. It's less than 20 miles from my house. I can get to Canada, right? And that's including getting over the damn water.
That's incredible. He's great though. We all had such a fun time that weekend, and just totally bonded, and like memories to last a lifetime. But wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, Kogo Smooth said that SDCC ruined him. It was my first convention in America, and it's so big. I just imagine most conventions like SDCC.
No.
I've been so very wrong. Well, I know when I went to PowerCon, I was shocked at how small it was compared to Motor City Comic Con. Joe Fest is the same way.
Yep.
It's way smaller than Motor City Comic Con, but then you look at it, it's like Motor City Comic Con isn't bringing they're not focusing on
one specific
small toy makers. They have Artist Alley. They have all these guests that they're bringing in to do signings, and then you have all these vendors that are coming in just to sell toys and so much different stuff. And I thought that's how the PowerCon was going to be, and I was just like, what are local shows that are bigger than this?
Exactly.
Not better, but just bigger than this.
Yeah, it's not that big. And like the last PowerCon I went to was the one in 2021 that was still in Anaheim.
Yeah.
And it was right before Michael and I met. And we probably literally like walked past each other.
Walked by each other.
Because he was there.
Gave each other dirty looks.
Yeah. Well, everyone was in masks, so we probably would have been able to. It was during COVID. So we're like, braving our lives going to PowerCon, but it was great. It was just great.
Yeah, Aaron the Toy Enhancer says, Joe Fest is a must every year now. So much fun. Yeah, Aaron's already trying to figure out who he's going to offend leading into Joe Fest. Who he can.
It looked incredible though. Like I saw video footage from Ken. You guys look like you're having an absolute blast there.
There was not 1 second of a bad time.
Yeah.
And it was funny because like we got there. They got there Thursday night. I rolled in at Friday because I stayed with Aaron the Toy Enhancer at his house.
Yeah.
Just below Georgia or above Georgia. So it's about a 2.5, 3 hour drive to get there. They were already there. I took off pretty much as soon as I woke up. And so we went in we had badges. So we went in the back, this back way. And I'd always make jokes about we don't go in where the common people go. Because we just so the next day we go out for breakfast. We walk into town. It's probably around 11 o'clock. We come walking in. Now, we hadn't walked in the front. We come walking in the front, and we're like, oh, there's vendors over here, too. How come no one told? Oh, wait, there's food and stuff up here, too? There is food, but like, I didn't have to walk into town or go back to the restaurant. And that's where Pixel Dan and Dan Larson were.
Yeah.
And when I talked to them at Sergeant Red's, they were saying, hold on.
Get some water. I wish I could hand you a bottle.
I have it right here.
That one. Okay, good.
When I was talking to actually, I think it was Pixel Dan. Yeah. And he said, like, we had so many people come up to us on that Saturday going, oh, we didn't know there was anything out here. Because there's no reason for us to walk out there.
Yeah.
But when we came in, like where we walked in, we're like I guess we should make fun of all the common people that had to come in this way because they saw
That's why they were there.
And the worst part about it was where Delta 17 was, they were right by the door.
Oh wow.
Like right where all this stuff was, and none of us bothered to look out there because you think that's just people coming in
to the convention hall. Yeah,
but there was like hot dogs and hamburgers out there, and you're like, oh, okay, well, that would have been easier than going to the restaurant every single time.
Oh, absolutely. I know. Like that reminds me, like back in March, this is an incredible toy show out in Burbank called Robo Toy Fest. They had all this amazing vintage toys. I bought a vintage Star Wars at there. Oof. And so you get in, and there's like a lobby with some vendors, and then this big hall full of toys. Well, the lobby like went either to the right or left, and to the right was like the check-in counter, like where you get your tickets, and it looked like a couple kind of lame booths, and sort of the hall ended there. And then to the left side, there was more vendors, and then the actual toy hall. So we went in, we did our shopping. We were tired after several hours, and we left. And the next day, because I went with my husband, my sister, we met a couple of our viewers there. It was great. The next day, my sister's watching a video for Robo Toy Fest. She's like, oh my God, there was this whole other section like around the corner. If you went to the right where the lame stuff was and you turned the corner all the way down the whole length of the exhibit hall was a bunch more vendor tables with vintage, amazing G.I. Joe stuff, which I totally missed. A bunch of Adventure Team Joes, which I would be dying to buy because I'd love the furry flock-haired Adventure Team. All this cool stuff that she saw in this video that one of the people who attended like took like a walkthrough video, and we missed this entire section because the same thing. We're like, there's nothing. I didn't know it went around the damn corner. I'm like, it just ends right there, right? So we didn't even see like this huge, ginormous section of stuff. So bummed. So next year I gotta hit the rest of that. So I know the feeling. But like I missed out. At least you figured out it was there before you were done.
Well, it was all by accident. Had we not gone into town, like we would have
never seen it.
we wanted to get it back. It was so hot.
Yeah.
It was in the high 90s.
It was in June, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the high 90s. It was, I mean, I'm used to humidity. Poor Tony from Arizona. Oh my God, I can't, like, Tony, you're going to fucking survive. You'll be fine. I promise you. But we're walking back and we're just like, this is the easiest way to get in. And that's when we're like, oh, all this 3D printed stuff, these magnets,
is there like one Grail piece that you picked up at Joe Fest that was like your favorite thing that you got?
There's no Grail for me. Well, I take it back. The only Grail that I want is the Defiant.
Okay.
I don't have thousands of dollars to throw away on a toy. Not right now. No, I mean I got the 2 Monster Force figures. Got a couple Delta 17. I picked up at least one vintage Joe. I spent a good amount of money.
Oh my God, I know. San Diego.
I bought Dubin's horse for Mythic Legions.
Oh, nice.
But there's really nothing G.I. Joe other than like O-ring stuff.
Yeah.
That I wanted. But Travis Moody from Toy Kind of Mood, he set up this whole panel so we could talk about the Classify line, and that's why we were there to do like kind of what like Jay does with Toy Tubers Unite, but just with G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
You could go to Joe Fest and on day one buy everything that you want to get, and just walk around for 2 days. Like a lot of people didn't spend a lot of money, and that's where that's a lot of what we had said. Like you didn't need to spend a lot of money. It was hanging out with these guys that you've become friends with.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the greatest thing. It is weird. It seems weird at first to call someone you've never met your friend, but I think the medium of seeing people and actually chatting with them, it's the same as being at a bar with them, except you don't have to yell to hear over there.
We got a big microphone for that.
I'm part of the microphone because you lifted that up before, and I was like,
it changes colors.
You lifted it, and I'm like, does she know what kind of toy show this is?
No, it's just a microphone. I need to find some kind of boom for it because my desk, it's wood, but it's like flat on the back, so there's nowhere to attach like a boom, like what's it called? The clamp.
Yeah.
Like I don't have anywhere to clamp a boom to the edge of my desk because there's nothing to like clamp around because it goes flat. So I've got this damn thing sitting here like this, just on a flat.
You mean it has a little lip underneath it?
Yeah. There's no. It's like straight back. There's like a modesty panel on the back of the desk, so it just goes. It's like the top of the desk and then flat in the back. So there's nowhere to clamp.
You're an architect. Get out the drill. Start.
I don't want to take the desk apart. I mean, I guess I could. I probably could.
If you live closer to Atlanta, Georgia, I'd send Aaron the toy enhancer over, and he'd come over and
I can modify it somehow. Yeah.
He'd come through and he'd start enhancing things for you.
Oh, that's too funny. Because I lean it on like a box or something like that.
So what was your husband like? Since he doesn't collect, he goes to SDCC. Like what?
Yeah, because he's supportive of me.
But I mean, like, what did he take of it? Because Did he enjoy it or just
Yeah,
enjoy
I
what
mean, he
you
had
had?
fun. He wanted to go see, if there were like celebrities there, and like he we have fun spending time together,
Yeah.
right? And then obviously he knows all these people, like he's seen them because I watch the shows, and so it's like he kind of knows everybody, and so he had fun hanging out with everyone and just being supportive, and he knows that I get so much joy from finding these toys, and so he definitely had a good time. I mean, Michael came a few days early before San Diego Comic-Con. He spent the weekend with us at our house. We hung out, we took him toy hunting all over LA. We like hit the pool, we like ate, we just had a fabulous time like hanging out for a couple of days because I took a few days off work, and then adventure drive down to San Diego. We did a random live stream from TC Rockets' cool toy shop down there. So we're like just tearing it up, having a blast, like the three of us. It was so much fun. So yeah, my husband enjoyed it. He had a good time.
So, what about your sister?
Mhm.
Now, is she also a big toy collector?
She is a toy collector. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Is she
you
like
guys
you?
know her as the Baroness of Toys. She's in our chat all the time. She's one of our crew members. Very cool person, and she enjoys collecting toys as well. So, I probably I think I have a bigger toy collection than she does, but hers is quite big. I probably could have more space. See, she lives in the city where it's more expensive to live, and it's cooler weather, but so she has a smaller space than I do.
Okay.
I moved out in the valley, so I got more for my money, and also just upgraded to a bigger house last October, a year ago, because I needed a bigger toy room as well. So now I have the space more to kind of sprawl out my toy.
I fear that will be my eventual reason that I have to move is
Mhm.
because of
Yeah,
the collecting.
yeah.
And luckily, I think I have enough in equity that I can actually get. But I don't want I don't ever want to move. Like I got a small
Oh my
townhouse.
God.
And, like eventually, my kids are gonna move out, right?
Yeah,
That's
so
the
you have
hope.
their space. Yeah,
Yeah, and then I can turn my son's room into a studio. Or
exactly. I mean our previous house was much smaller, so I had to just, and I kind of promised my husband like just the one bedroom, and it was small, and like I totally ran out of room there, and there was no room to expand or anything. I'm like, this is it, and it's really hot in the valley. We had no pool, we had no room to put a pool. And I'm like, we've been living out here way too much, and it was getting to the point where the toys needed more space. We needed a swimming pool. We just needed more room in the house because, especially during COVID lockdown, being in our smaller house, like with each other all day long, like you tend to, like, the walls started shrinking in, which it did to a lot of people, right? Your house like felt smaller because you're home all day. And so we felt the need because we had a lot of equity in our house too. And it made sense to be able to. I was blessed enough to be lucky enough to be able to buy a larger home. And this house sold me because the room I'm in, it's actually two rooms next to each other. I think it used to be one big like media room or something like that. And they built a wall in between the two spaces and put like a closet on that wall. But they're interconnected with the door right here. So I have both spaces. This is my toy room, and I've got more of my vintage stuff in the room behind me, with my glass case and all my bunch of
did you
shelves.
mind me asking what your husband does for work?
He's in sales.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he tells his people that he meets, he's like, oh yeah, my wife, she has to have her own room. Oh, like a sewing room? No, it's a toy room. What? Like what kind of toys? Oh, she collects stuff. Oh, you mean like dolls? No action figures.
Everything.
They're kind of overflowing.
Yeah.
Because if I told someone, they'd be like, sure, it's her. Sure. Like,
Yeah.
I believe that one.
It's mine. Yeah. Yeah.
So for your YouTube channel, like, do you, Michael, have any, like, do you have plans on what you want to do, or are you just going to continue to do?
I think, our main goal is that we get together at least once a week, sometimes more, depending on if news hits, just to connect back with the community, get to enjoy and have fun and time with people, have guests on, talk about the news that's breaking on our website, because it also helps people connect with our website. So we are trying to grow the website. and the YouTube channel will grow itself naturally. Like I said, we don't make much money on the YouTube channel. We're not there for that. We're there to connect with amazing people like you and make friends like you, and be part of the toy collecting community because we love it. And I think, that's kind of it for the YouTube channel. It's not like we don't have like delusions of grandeur or anything. It's just there to be part of the community and really enjoy with you guys. And the website, like, Michael and I, we both have very demanding full-time jobs. And I just got a promotion, so my time's going to be even more scarce because I'm going to have more demands on me at work. But we're trying to make it work, and we're trying to, keep growing the website. The website is really where our passion lies in making that kind of like the go-to resource for toy news. So we're trying to build that as much as we could.
And I really like it, and I remember I talked to Michael. I don't remember if it was during the stream or if it was backstage, and when he was talking about it, he said that one of the things that you guys chose to do was not try and talk about all the information. Yeah. Just these are the things we like. Mm-hmm. So this is what we're going to talk about because it's two of us doing it.
Exactly.
And if we try and hit everything, you're completely scarce. Now people come here for G.I. Joe, they come for Motu, and that type of stuff that might be associated. And I went, that is actually really smart. And I think anyone that's doing YouTube, especially in our realm, very few people can review all toys and be successful. You have to kind of pick your lane and stick with that, whether it be Transformers, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, different things like that. So I think it's good. And again, you also want to have somewhat of a life where you're not hunting down every bit of news for it. So
some people are asking in the chat, and maybe because they don't follow us, our YouTube channel is called Toy Habits. Our website is toyhabits.com. If you have not seen it, Toy Habits.
So in the description, I do have your Instagram and the Toy Habits YouTube. I did not put the
website.
The website, but guess what?
So the website's great. Because
really
we update that on basically a daily basis. And the great thing about the website is that we have a bunch of like the latest news stories that's on the homepage. But if there's any toy news or something that we talked about that came out a while ago, there's this little magnifying glass on the corner of the website by the logo that says Toy Habits. And if you click on that, there's a search bar that pops up. And you can type anything you want in there, and it'll bring up our articles that have to do with that. So you can always find all of the information for anything we've written about on our website really easily. Besides, the categories and stuff we have through that little magnifying glass, and of course our shop pages. Because if there's figures that you wanted to get and you can't really find them anymore, and you go to our shop button, and we've created pages for all of these amazing toys. So we've got, all the different G.I. Joe lines, all the different Motu lines, Thundercats, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Michael created every single Ninja Turtle, vintage turtle. There's pages for all the vintage turtles in there. And then a lot of the new stuff is on there too. So making it like fun and easy for people to also shop for their toys, besides getting all the incredible toy news. Because like what we found, and the website grew out of frustration, right? So as a toy collector, we thought it was like really frustrating to find toys when they came out for sale. Sometimes links were impossible to find. Didn't really know like news or information too well on certain things. So we wanted to make it easy for everyone, take the frustration out of toy collecting, make it fun again, right? And just have a source for you to just, hey, you're bored on your lunch hour or whatever. Hey, let me see what's up with toy news. And then, go to toyhabits.com and like, oh, look at all this cool stuff that's coming out. So it's we wanted to create a home for all of us as toy collectors to be able to find everything we needed and make it easy for you guys. All right. So that was really the the crux and the reason for the website. And Michael works so hard and just does such an incredible job. He like I feel like he's the one like steering the ship at times. He's just our solid rudder, and he's really good about like the kind of like the technical aspects of the website because I don't know jack about how all the because he's like from Silicon Valley, right? So he understands about all that stuff, but he taught me a lot. And there's more to running a website than just knowing how to like write an article and post some pictures. I learned a lot about the things that go behind search engine optimization, how to get your things to come up on YouTube, keywords to like dot into the website so that people can find your stuff. I had to learn all this. And Michael taught me, and it was great. And his wife did an amazing job too, helping us kind of build the site and teaching us tools to sharpen the site that much better. So I want to thank both of them for that.
But I mean, I talk about it with YouTube. I go, and I tell everyone, I go, if you have a question,
Yeah.
if you're starting your channel off and you have a question, you hit me up. I won't gatekeep anything that I know. Because why is it just because I spent the time trying to figure things out? If you have a question, why would I watch someone bang their head against the wall for 6 months that I know they're doing wrong because of something I learned from other people? Why not just say, hey,
yeah,
I tried doing that and maybe try this, and these 8 other YouTubers that talk about building a channel, they mention like this is why it's wrong. Why should you have to sit there and wait? I mean, I hate that. But when you talk about learning, I just watch so much stuff about YouTube, and it's so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
It's something new. I can go to YouTube, hit play while I'm driving. I don't have to watch anything. I'm listening to it. And so there's specific YouTubers that talk about growing your brand, how to give, better content to people. Like you just listen to it. And now I've learned so much, but you'll just listen to it and all of a sudden be like, oh, wait a minute, hold on, let me back that up because that I heard, that I was wondering about.
I mean, there's and also to YouTube, there's so much more than just going on here and talking to people, right? Or just showing it on the screen. There's all this other technical stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and especially if you're doing a pre-recorded video, and the way that you upload those and make sure that there's no licensing issues and all this other stuff. And it takes forever to just upload even the smallest, shortest video because you have to go through all this like screening process before it actually uploads to YouTube. And then after you do all that work, just to find out that you get some kind of like monetization strike thing or something like triggered something in the video and it's like already up and you're not even making pennies on it. And it's just like, like you just deal with it. That happens once in a while. But it's a lot of work. What you do is a lot of work. I'm telling you, like making edited video content, it's a labor of love, and you should be proud of the work you put out and like the amount of energy that goes into it. Like I really appreciate all of that, the work you do, Ken, all of those things, because it takes so many hours to do just an edited video. I get it.
Quickly here.
Welcome to the Creamery.
Pop Blenders gifted 5 punk memberships. And let's see. David Bruce, the Briscoe, Slade Poe, who I don't know if I've ever seen comment here, but I'm glad you got one. Alejandro. I'm not going to slaughter the rest of that. And Andrew Davis. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, Pop. You're one of the best.
That is awesome. That's so nice. Very nice of you, Pop Wonder, for gifting those memberships.
Yeah, and I know Wraith Mace. He's like, I'd rather rather than come and just send you a super chat, I'd rather donate some memberships because then someone is going to get something out of it. Yeah. And it's the same, about the same price that I'm already going to give you. I'm like, that's actually pretty, nice. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. We have like some regular members that are always gifting memberships, and it's like so incredibly nice of them. Like we really appreciate all the support. Like we can't do this without you guys, and we do this for you guys, right? So just having that kind of support from the community is amazing.
No, I tell people that all the damn time. I tell people that all the damn time. I go, my Monday night, I do it alone for 3+ hours.
Wow.
I go, if you guys aren't in the chat talking to each other, no one's listening to me for 3 hours. It's basically we all decided to go to a bar, but we're all here. I'm the only one speaking. You guys are actually talking, amongst each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know how this came up here.
Welcome to the creamery.
That Aaron the Toy Enhancer, his credit card must have lapsed because I know he's been a member.
Yeah.
How were you off the team? I didn't know. You were always here. I didn't realize. I don't pay attention.
He's just doing it so he gets another shout out. But that's great. I know my membership lasts. It looks like I'm new. No, just kidding.
Well, it's funny because one of the icons I have when you've been, I think, 6 months is my dog.
Oh, how cute!
And 3-star draw, he was switching over his accounts because I told him, I'm like, dude, you can't. You have multiple accounts and you're trying to grow a channel. No one can find you. Yeah. So he wanted to switch to the other one that he wasn't. He's like, I am so mad because I'm like weeks away from getting Roman as the little icon, and I know that once I do that,
it's gone.
Oh, it's Missy's car. It's his wife. It's Missy.
She'll be like, what's this charge? Google what?
No, but I think, listening to you guys and, talking to Michael and I think you guys, are much like how I am, where the community is what makes everything.
Yeah.
There's not a lot, there's a lot of YouTubers that they get to a point and the chat is just there because they're there to, I'm only going to read super chats. If you don't send me a super chat, I'm going to read your comment. We actually had a conversation about this today in another group chat, and someone had kind of mentioned it, and I was like, "Fuck that!" I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm never going to do that." And if there's a channel that says we only read super chats, I don't want to be part of your community.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Because
really? Obviously, we can't flash every single message up on the screen because we'd be here all day. But like sometimes. Somehow Mega J almost does that because he's amazing. So he's awesome. He goes through most of his comments because he does a lot of his live streams separately.
I hate when some of the YouTubers that are bigger do that because they don't read the chats for a while and then they're like, hey, let's get back to where we're at. And they're going back a half hour, 40 minutes. And you're like, you've completely disrupted your own channel.
Yeah, and then the subject's totally changed, so the comments are sort of relevant. But I know why he does it because he wants to connect with the community and make sure that he's addressing people's questions.
Oh, and I'm not saying him, but I mean,
no. But what I'm saying is, like, we take the time to at least put up the comments that we can, and what people do need to realize that we're multitasking when we're on here. So we have a small screen that shows us and then a side screen that shows scrolling all the comments, so we're trying to run multiple things at once, and so we do our best as YouTubers to get comments on the screen to stay focused with our conversation and try and read comments at the same time, which I know I can see Lawrence is doing right now as we speak. So it's a balancing act, right? So we do the best to get the comments.
And Joe Fan, you're not wrong. There are some people that they're only going to read your super chats.
Yeah.
And then there are guys that, they
or
do it
or Aaron who gives a $5 super chat and says super chats are lame.
Here comes the
money. That's so nice of him.
Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
And Aaron with the $4.99 super chat. Super chats are lame. I think Aaron just likes to throw it, and that's fine. I'm perfectly happy. I appreciate it. Super chats are gross for my moderator. Punk should be able to turn on his scroll. I don't turn on the scroll bar when I am doing this because it's about you guys. So I don't want to be like, hey, make sure you go use my code here and use my code here and go to my, like, no. This is about the person that's on. I'm not saying, Dave, I'm not saying like you're saying that I should. I really do try and avoid that. But yeah, it's I enjoy doing this. And
Yeah,
I think,
this has been great, and I really appreciate you having me on. And it's been such a fun time, getting to chat with you, getting to know you better as well, Lawrence, because we haven't actually had the time to, sit here and chit chat. We've just kind of crossed paths here and there.
yeah, we've talked. I mean, we've talked a few times, but I mean, I've
Yeah,
talked to Michael obviously a lot more.
yeah.
But I know again, I think I know that I can rub people the wrong way, and I know I don't even know how I ended up on. How did I end up on Mega J's? That I think
We
I
were
was.
all on there. I don't know. It was just like
I
like an extra at the end. It was
just
hilarious.
remember.
Like, it was just like everybody was jumping in the pool at the end of that night. I was like so tired. I couldn't even see straight. I was like, this is so much fun. I don't care. We had a blast that night.
Yeah, it's again, and it's these weird memories that you remember.
Hmm.
Um, it's these weird memories that you remember. Like you don't even remember like the whole thing, and then things just start to get
Yeah.
like I
Blank,
don't
blank,
remember
blank,
certain
blank.
things. Like certain, I don't remember where the creamery exactly who said it.
Yeah.
There've been a few other things, but the people in the chat remember. So like
Yeah.
that was so and so that did it, or hey, I'm like cool. I
Yeah.
can't remember what calls I did today for
Yeah.
work. I know that I went to work. That I do know. And it drives my boss nuts. He's like, I got to talk to you about the call today. I'm like, and he'll say the name, and I'm where he's like, you are the worst. I'm like, I'm not denying it, but when I get to the call, I can fix the damn copy, right? That's what really matters.
Which is awesome.
um, is there anything else that you want to?
I just, I want to give a big shout out to Michael, my partner, who has been just so supportive and so incredible and just such a good friend, and allowing me the opportunity to be able to do this with him, the YouTube channel, and then getting to actually be partners on the website. We are actually an LLC, if you can believe it. So, which was really cool. It was, and that all came about. I think it was like early last year when we had that whole debacle with the Turtles of Grayskull leak. we're like we can't have them take our house, so we got a C&D letter. So that forced us to become an LLC, which is kind of cool. Like now we're sort of
So
incorporated.
he did tell me about that, but I don't think he mentioned it on stream. So I didn't. That's why I didn't bring that up.
No, it's okay. But so it's like we have an official business partnership, which is amazing, right? So we're in this for the long haul. Is my point. And we're not going nowhere. So YouTube channel, website, we're partners. We work incredibly well together. Like I said, he works his butt off. He's so super smart, super amazing, and just such a good friend. And we have so much fun. Doing the YouTube channel with him, like it's a blast. And the few times we've gotten to actually hang out together in person has been amazing. So I looking forward to the future and growing our brand and our website and our YouTube channel even more, and just meeting friends and getting to know more people, and getting to know people like you more closely has been amazing. So I'm a toy collector just like all of you, and I was just watching YouTube shows in the chat just like all of you, and fate brought me and Michael together with a hero staff and our in-laws being best
I love
friends.
that.
Like who knows like how the crazy world works, right? Little did I know I was going to be here on YouTube, on the other side of the screen instead of watching it. I'm hanging out with you
And I
guys.
love that.
But I just so many amazing friends that have come of this, and I just love hanging out with all of the fellow collectors, and everyone's amazing. And just thanking like all of our crew members for the support they give us, and they have so much fun together. Like I feel like the crew members have become like a tight knit group of friends also, which is
Yeah.
amazing to see that. Which I love, that we're able to create that space, that everyone's comfortable being themselves and just having so much joy for this hobby that we love. It's a special time, and we should all be feel really proud of it, and happy to be enjoying this kind of time together as collectors, and just thank you for having me on, because it's been such a great time chatting with you and getting to know you better.
Hold on, let me hit a few things here. We have my moderator, Ed,
Welcome to the Creamery.
who has donated 5 memberships to Michael Kimmel, Snow Wolf, Robert Mudge. I don't know who these people are. Gaz got one. I know Gaz. And Kustaf. I don't think 3 of those names I've ever seen comment. So welcome. And then we have, oops, I should have played this first here.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
Daredevil Dave with the $4.99. It should be possible for you to turn on the memberships access on your scroll bar. You can't. Like, unfortunately, I don't know if you're on a mobile device. I think if you're on an iPhone, you cannot join a membership. You can do it from Android, and you can do it from your
You
computer.
have to do it from a desktop.
Yeah. No, you can do it with Android now.
Oh, can you? Okay.
Yeah, because that's what we all thought too.
Oh,
But
okay. I don't have an Android phone, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
I don't either.
I'm an iPhone person. Sorry.
Yeah, I have an
Nothing's wrong
iPhone.
with Android phones. I just don't know anything about them.
But yeah, they did change that, but you have to do
Okay.
it. And it's frustrating. And Dave, if I could turn it on to have more members, then I definitely would.
Yeah.
You need to just find out when certain people are going to donate, I guess, and be there. Like I don't know how they pick like who's, who they're going to donate it to, and what happens if someone donates it and everyone's already a member there, and there's not enough to go around. Do they just give it to the next person that shows up?
Oh.
So Daredevil, I promise you, I would put it in there if I knew a way to. It'd be stupid for me not to. But I even put the link in to, like, if you go click on it. But if you're on the iPhone, it takes you back out and it doesn't let you do anything.
Your best bet is just to go on a desktop and then go to Punk with Toys on YouTube, go on his homepage, click on the join button that's at the top, and then you can join the membership there. Make sure, and also if you have not subscribed to Punk with Toys, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, show Lawrence some love, show him some support, because he is amazing. And thank you for
all these people, they're already.
Well, if they haven't, or they're watching, they're just
we're
not,
sycophants, man.
Chatty Cathy in the chat, whoever's watching out there, or someone watching it on the replay, because they might not be watching this live. Please show your support, and you've been amazing, Lawrence. So thank you for having me.
So Matthew says you don't have to be live in. He said live. He meant live.
Yeah.
You don't have to be live in chat to get a membership. You only have to be subscribed. Okay. Well, I do want to say, if you haven't yet, please head over to Toy Habits, give them a subscribe. Go over to the Toy Sorceress. The links are in the description that you can find on an iPhone. Todd C says, Punk got made into Leatherneck. He's got plenty of love already.
I gotta see that hat you got there.
It's downstairs.
Next time.
All you have to do, if you go to my Monday night show, I have it on right when I start.
Oh,
I don't cosplay.
Yeah. I'll check it out. I'll check it out on your video replay.
I don't cosplay, but I ordered the hat when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I ordered on Amazon.
Yeah.
And the next day it was like $15.
Yeah.
And I posted the hat, and I didn't know. I don't know how many people put 2 and 2 together. The hat's downstairs, Aaron. I can't run downstairs and get it. And I cosplayed again earlier today for the video that I did. You guys, I haven't heard anyone mention that yet.
Well, we're gonna all watch it afterwards.
I literally just took it downstairs because I'm like, let's get it off my desk right now. But
yeah,
I'll have it next to me from now on. Someone wants. I feel weird like putting a Marine cap on because I didn't serve.
Yeah.
and you know the wrong person is going to see it, and they're
Yeah, get upset.
and I made it perfectly clear. Like, hey, if anyone is wondering, I ordered it off Amazon. It's because
I'm
everyone
wearing
said
this Toy Habits hat because I served Toy Habits.
um, Matthew, that in the video that I bought that hat at Universal. It was raining, so I bought it. It's like but the female has it in the new Marine Sniper. So I was like, hey, I finally have another reason to wear this hat. Because other people wear the hat, I'm like, that's just not me. I don't wear it. So, would you like to tell everyone where they can find you and what you have going on too?
Well, we have normally our weekly live stream is on Fridays at 6:30. Our channel is Toy Habits on YouTube. Also, check out our website. You can find articles from Michael and I at toyhabits.com. And you can reach us on Instagram at either Toy Habits website or Toy Sorceress on Instagram. And Michael also has a Toy Habits Michael Instagram page where he posts his collection stuff too. So you can DM us through there. Go to the website toyhabits.com. We've got a connect with us or chat with us button if you want to reach us that way. And of course, check us out on our YouTube channel. Me and Michael will be on tomorrow night at 6:30, and I got to remember what we're talking about because this week has been crazy. I'm sure Michael already texted me what we're. He said he's already scheduled the stream, and I'm totally clueless about what we're talking about this week. But I'm sure it's going to be a great subject. I'll catch up. But yeah, we typically cover the news for the week, and sometimes we leak out information on our live stream, so that's pretty fun. You never know, who's gonna pop up, and I always got something going on my desk, so we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with everybody in the chat, and just have a blast. So that's where you can find us. And Lawrence, it's been great hanging out with you again. Give Lawrence a follow, a like. Sorry, you're this way. It's always backwards. Subscribe. Hit that like button, smash it, and it's been a blast hanging out with you. So thank you very much.
Anytime that you're going to point to someone,
yeah,
all you do is you move your hand up, and then when you realize you got the right one,
oh yeah,
yeah,
okay. Now I can point you in the right direction.
So then, if you don't do anything, if you brought this hand, you just bring it down. Then you're like,
that's actually, you know what? Thank you. That's a great idea.
Especially when
everything it's in Bizarro land when we're in YouTube. It's all backwards.
And why?
I don't know. Like this is on my right, but it looks like it's on my left.
So thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I had a blast chatting with you. I think this is longer than what you guys normally do. So
yeah, I got a hubby waiting for me to watch some stuff on TV.
Hey, I guess I don't understand that. I've been single for
I'm sorry.
almost 9 years.
He's putting up with it. And then tomorrow night we have I think we have an after show, like a hot tub scheduled with our members too. So he's gonna have two long nights without me.
He can join you in the hot tub.
Yeah, I know. That's true.
Anyway,
Michael told you the hot tub story, but we'll go into that another. He used to play with his G.I. Joes in the hot tub, so that's why we call it the hot tub.
Oh, I know. I remember. Yeah. I watched a lot. Like,
oh yeah.
All right.
There's no actual hot tub, people. We're not, doing anything weird.
Go over there. Give her a
metaphorical.
Toy Habits. Thank you very much. I will see you later, and tune in over here tomorrow night to watch them. And you know where to find me on Mondays. Right here. All right. Take care, guys.
Bye, everybody.